really important to have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about the permanent loss.
Really, at the end of the day, it's just the matter of a macro market. It's just what happens.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, so we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and D-gentlemen of all ages. Happy Boxing Day. It is the 26th, but more importantly, I wish everyone out there that they had a very Merry Christmas. I'm your host, Zenith, for tonight, and we're here doing our end-of-year show for all of the books we covered in 2025, or pretty much since the last time we covered this exact topic before. I'm your host, Zenith, and as always, I'm joined by my excellent compatriot and co-host, and just overall good dude, Will. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, ladies and germs? I'm super stoked to get into this. Like this is actually one of the better, like, cooler parts of the show because we get to think about all of the nifty book, or not parts of the show, like shows of the year, because we get to think about all of the nifty books that we've consumed throughout the year, and we get to grade them on, like, you know, scale of 1 to 10, and it's like it's really nifty to take a look back and be like, oh, this is a waste of time. This is totally awesome. And I'm super stoked, man. I just finished up my final job for the year. So I'm headed up to the Northeast to go hang out with people and go visit my little New Hampshire house and see what's going on over that way. So I'm really happy. I'm really stoked. And also, I've got a new traveling compatriot. I've got a dog that decided to join me at the last job site. So I now have a traveling puppers that comes with me, just like a hunting dog that got abandoned or something. But she was starving, and so the last couple of days I've been feeding her and picking ticks off of her and, you know, taking care of her and shit. So now that it's past Christmas, I'm gonna go take her to a groomer, get her smelling good, and then take her to a vet and get all the medicines and all that just jazz sorted out. And then yeah, I'm stoked, man. It's a great Christmas. It's a great holiday spirit. By the way, folks at home, happy fucking Christmas. It's a good time. We're having lots of fun. How about you, Zenith? How are you doing? What's new and exciting with you?
I am doing well. You put a little English on there saying Happy Christmas instead of Merry, but I am doing very well. I am back in the Pacific Northwest, just hanging out with some friends. Actually had a buddy take us out on the boat today, and then we went from one body of water to the other, which was the hot tub, immediately to re-warm up. But overall, hey, we got some sunshine. We got a good time. We had maybe a little bit of champagne while we were out there, but overall, an absolute blast. And hey, this is the time to be with friends and family, and that's hopefully what we're all doing. So, and by the way, shout out to Will, our bleeding heart over there. Can't left a stray animal alone. Happy you took it on yourself to take care of someone over there, even though it's just a puppers.
She's a pretty cool pupper. She has not barked once. She has not bit anyone. She has not made any sort of aggressive move. She's just like she's a young little thing, and so, like, I don't know, her teeth are clean, her paws are big compared to her body, so I think that she's just like just barely abandoned or something, but I don't know. But yeah, this is how I got Mr. Kitty, who traveled with me for 2 years before he died doing what he loved, fighting animals in the wilderness. But yeah, so this I guess just animals fucking make their way into my life. I never go looking for them, but it is what it is. Super cool, super awesome to have a pet on the road, though.
Oh, absolutely. Based on the description you gave, that sounds like a 10 out of 10 travel companion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's pretty cool. Has not shit in the truck so far, and we've been driving for about an hour. So we'll see how long that lasts.
Okay. It's still early on in the voyage, but hopefully it continues to be good.
Yep. We'll see.
Excellent.
We'll see. That's awesome, though, that you gotta fucking go out on. Man, I grew up in Washington State, and I gotta say, like, the Puget Sound, the Strait of Juan de Fuca, like that whole area is fucking lovely. I love it up there. So that is excellent.
It's beautiful. It really is. I mean, if you can handle, the constant drizzle of rain and then cloudy and 45 most of the time, like, it's nice. But at the same time, though, I'm a sunshine guy, and I like getting some vitamin D. So you know what it is.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. It's. I know over on the East Coast, it's like snowing and all shitty right now because I was looking at the weather over nearby where I'm headed, and it's like they're getting like sleet and all sorts of garbage. So I'm not too excited about that. I'm over here in Arkansas wearing like shorts and a t-shirt in freaking crazy hot weather and stuff. But yeah, man, how is it up there in Washington?
Well, I'm over on the coast, pretty up far north. I'm above Seattle, actually. So it's like 45, cloudy, slightly rainy, and forecast says pretty much the same thing for the rest of the time that I'm here. So it is what it is. You make do with what you got. Hopefully the snow will be good. They did get an absolute torrential downpour, and a lot of the snow, especially the base for the ski resorts, got wiped out probably like 2-3 weeks ago at this point. A lot of stuff is still flooded, but allegedly we're supposed to be getting some good snow this year. So I'm looking very much forward to that. And if it works out, we'll go skiing at least once. And that's the plan.
Yeah, and I hope everyone, by the way, down in California, hope y'all are doing okay too. I heard there was some crazy rain down in the Los Angeles area, and like there was all sorts of bullshit going on down there. So I hope y'all are all right. I was chatting with SJ a while ago, so it sounded like she's doing okay and everything's working out. But hearts and thoughts and feelings out to everyone in those crazy mudslides happening in like the San Bernardino area and things.
I am familiar with the area, so hope you all guys are doing a-okay. But yeah, crazy weather is, well, crazy.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Speaking of crazy weather and crazy things, is it time for one of the best parts of the show, Mr. Zenith?
That it is. Do the thing, good sir.
It's time for motherfucking shout-outs and ladies and germs. It's time for the best part where we shout you guys out for interacting and chatting with us. We fucking love each and every one of you.
That
Zenith,
we
go
do.
ahead and take it away.
All right, coming in first degen of the evening. Hexicospaceforce lost in Asia, or I guess good morning to you, sir. I don't even think it's Boxing Day for him anymore. If anything, he's probably over on the 27th now. Crazy to think that this holiday period is flying by. But he is in Fighting Without Fighting, The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Yes, sir, if you can win a battle without ever having to fight, that is one of the greatest accomplishments you can have, according to Sun Tzu there. And which, by the way, I think Will and I both really enjoy that book, especially appreciating that it's, nice and concise. So hear me out. There will be plenty more good things to say about that one in the near coming future. And as always, he does give us the old O's to him in there. So good to see you,
I
sir.
do like
Good
the
to see you.
salutes.
Always appreciate him. Alrighty. Arceus coming in saying, calling it now. Outwitting Squirrels will be named #1 most useful book of the year. 100%.
I don't think there's any disagreement with that. I think that's probably going to be the most useful book. Everyone can use that. Everyone needs a little bit of outwitting squirrels in their life.
Look, was it the most dense book we've covered this year? Absolutely not. Partly due to all the stuff that I put on there. But was it still fun? Absolutely. Are there some good nuggets? Also, yes. And come on,
100%.
it was episode 69. Come on, what are we doing?
It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that book, and man, we did need a break because this has been a year of some dense fucking books, man.
That it has,
Yeah.
and I will absolutely point the finger over here as one that has put it on there. But look, we covered some classics. It was good to get through them. Will we be revisiting them or doing an annual read for them? I think largely not, but if anything, we'll at least give you our thoughts here for the second time and let you know where they stack up against everything. And hopefully we can put out something that's good as, who knows, maybe a bit of a reading list from the Degen Roundtable. Who knows? I think that'd be cool.
Excellent.
All right, coming in, a fan favorite of all of ours. Tam, she says, hello, my lovelies. It is an absolute pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful, beautiful evening. She says, never been to the Pacific Northwest. It's a cool spot. I definitely recommend coming in the summertime because it's a little more enjoyable. But I will say there's a good group of Hexicans up here. And if you want to hang out with those folks, there's a lot of people that I'm sure would be absolutely more than happy to welcome you and hang out and do whatever. I know I've got a minor league hockey game queued up for later in the week, so I'm going to be doing that. And there's plenty of fun stuff to do up here all the time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We got a good buddy coming in here. What is up, US Crypto Boogie, aka just Boogie, you know, the man with the ski mask. He says, "Sup, monkeys? Good to see you, my man. Always a pleasure having
What's
you.
up?
I hope you had a very Merry Christmas, or as he says, a Feliz Navidad, if you will."
Feliz Navidad, motherfucker.
There you go. Oh no. Hexagon Lost in Asia says, "Z, bump your Wi-Fi, brother. You look like a puzzle."
Fun fact.
Go for it.
I learned something about Wi-Fi the other day. The 5 megahertz or the 5, there's like a 2.4 and then there's a 5. The 5 is really fast, but it doesn't penetrate through walls and stuff. The 2.4 is a little bit slower, but it like spreads out farther and things. So it's like there's an optimal one and a non-optimal one. In your home Wi-Fi settings. So fun fact. And then cords, Cat 6 cables and Cat 5 cables are always best. But
that is true. I will say I have minimal control over my Wi-Fi tonight. So please let me know if I'm coming through broken and unreadable. But outside of that, I'm kind of just going to roll with what I got and hope for the best. So I do apologize. If it comes out truly terrible, I don't think we're opposed to doing a re-recording. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's not unusable, but you like I thought it was my signal that you were coming in that way. But yeah, you're definitely grainy, and your voice isn't the most beautiful and buttery that we're normally used to hearing from Zenith. Comes in a little bit scratchy, but it's functional. I think that we can work with it.
Okay, I will try to adjust my settings and see what I can do on this side of the house. But like folks out there, please, if it's bad, let me know. I'll see what I can do. I made a quick change. Let me know if it's any better.
Okie dokie.
Alrighty.
Excellent.
Boogie coming in here doing the Lord's work, you might say. He says, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Yes, we do appreciate all of the YouTube legends around here, and we appreciate Boogie doing the same for us. Because guess what? This man has a YouTube channel. He streams with by himself and with Twinkie, and every once in a while with Miguel, aka Dollar Cost Crypto. So love to see the boys working together, promoting all their stuff. And yeah, if you like what we do and you like us, odds are you're gonna enjoy what Boogie and Twinkie put out as well. Because guess what? We stream with them too. So they're right in the family. Alrighty, up next, Mr. Slide 180. He says, "Oh, I'm late, y'all, but we're getting a cheers, a Christmas tree, and a little snowflake." Hey, there you go. Cheers to you, sir. Will's cracking a cold one, I see. Very nice, very nice. Is that the garage beer? Good sir, you are muted, or I might be.
I am muted. It is a garage
he's back.
beer. Yep, I'm not driving, so I'm clear to drink, boys and girls. It was a good night. So yeah, cheers to you, Mr. Josh, Mr. Slide 180.
Absolutely.
Good to see you, broski.
Yeah, love seeing Josh as always. Also love hanging out with the guy. He's fun, I gotta say. Although you hang out with him in person, which is even better. So you're more of an expert than I am on this one.
Oh yes, can confirm. He is awesome.
There we go. Alrighty, Tam getting in here again. Love you, gentlemen. Thank you for the shout out. Hey, love you as well. Thank you for all your continued support. And geez, you do a whole ton for us, and we are very, very, very thankful for all that you do for us. You're fantastic. I don't know what else to say.
100%. Can confirm.
Yeah. All right. Last one. Hexagon Lost in Asia, excuse me. Shout out to Boogie and Twinkie with the 07. That's right. Both good guys, both good dudes. We love them. Hopefully we'll see them soon in Vegas whenever we go out there for our next one. Hey, Pulse 369 conference, I believe, is the next one. There may or may not be a crypto mindset meetup in the near future as well. So just stay tuned for all that. Excellent. All right. I may have lied. We have one more sneaking in here. It's our good buddy Alan, Dr. Alan Chen of Your Health Unplugged. He says, Feliz Navidad y Feliz Año Nuevo. There you go. Love it. Merry Christmas and a very happy New Year's to you as well, sir. Thank you so much for joining us for all the different shows. And we had an absolute blast with you every time you're on. And we hope you keep coming back and hanging out with us.
Hell yeah. Good to see all the fam. Good to see you, Dr. Chen.
Love it. Even Dr. Chen getting some love in here. Look at that. Love it.
Look at that. Most excellent.
Alrighty, good sir. That does it for our chat shoutouts. So let's get to the main part of the show. I hope that this at least comes through better than my camera. So what we're looking at here is, yes, we're doing the tier list again. Thank you for the advertisements tier list website. Okay. All right, so Will, our categories for this evening are, we have at the very top, Galaxy Brain. This is the best, the stuff that really kind of opened your eyes, made you think, had some just really good concrete stuff that you think you might even return to in the future. After that, we have Good Soup. Good Soup is what it says. This is our second from the top, and it's not quite Galaxy Brain, but there's a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff you can come back to, ponder over, chew on, that kind of stuff. After that, we have A Few Good Morsels. This one is okay. There's some good stuff in here. There's some good stuff. It's not exactly the best read in the world, but it's not bottom of the barrel either by any stretch of the imagination. And lastly, at the bottom, we have Interesting Thoughts. So this one, look, don't want to say that we read bad books because, well, they're curated, and I hope that none of them are bad. But at the same time, they will all not be 10 out of 10s or even 8 out of 10s at that point. I have a feeling that some of my recommendations are going to fall into this category, but you know what? It'll be okay. Alrighty. Does that make sense, Will?
It does make sense. I wish that the colors were inverted so that green was on top and red was on bottom, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, we can
That's
alter
just...
it up real quick and go. How
Oh,
about,
you can?
a blue.
Ooh.
Then we can do the greenest of greens on top. We'll do
like
a
green.
yellow, and we'll do maybe a orange. How about that?
Very good.
I like it. All right, tell you what. Is there anywhere in particular you want to start? Or do you just want me to jump in here and kind of pick somewhat chronologically, somewhat sporadically?
I think we can pick sporadically. That would be kind of fun because if we went through it chronologically, maybe, well, I don't know. If we start with the oldest first and then work our way to the newest, that seems reasonable. Also, my screen hasn't updated for either my phone or the laptop, so I don't know if the folks at home can see the screen or not. But the share screen, it's showing the color selection, and it's currently got orange highlighted for me.
I think I should be good to go over on my side.
Okie dokie.
All right, tell you what, let's just jump into this. I believe the first one we did since the last time we did this was Curse of the High IQ.
Okay.
So, Curse of the High IQ by Cappy, aka Aaron Clary. This was the book that was written to talk about what it means to be wherever you are on the IQ bell curve and what it's kind of like if you're on the upper half of it. A good bit of it was talking about, like, look, 100 is the average IQ, meaning that that's your average. It's most likely what you're going to run into, but there are people in the higher end, there are people in the lower end, and there's a good chunk of people in the middle there. This book especially talks about certain things that you might find yourself trapped into if you're kind of on that right side of the bell curve. So this book does talk about entrepreneurialism, not getting bogged down in all the nonsense, kind of a bit of the bureaucracy that we're in the modern world and how that really like bogs people down, and then how to escape from it, how to find the interesting people that you want. And a good bit of it was honestly like how to maximize your life. So
yeah,
Will, I'll let you have the first crack at this one. Where do you want to put it?
I would put it in either a good soup or A Few Good Morsels. I'll say that there wasn't anything like groundbreaking in this book, so I'm like disinclined to put it in good soup. There were some good morsels in it, though. I don't know. What are your thoughts? I'm a little bit torn in between. What do you think?
I think I'm honestly right there with you. But
yeah,
the reason we have 4 categories is that we're forcing no fence sitting. There's no middle category. You either got to go 2 out of 4 or 3 out of 4.
Yeah, so, I would go on the lower half then.
Hear me out. I think I'm right there with you. Was it an enjoyable read? Yes, absolutely. Are there some good things to learn in there? Definitely. Do I enjoy Aaron Clary and his writing style? Absolutely. At the same time, though, when it comes to kind of how we're grading this stuff, I think it definitely falls into the Few Good Morsels. Like, I think it's like a 6 to 7 hour audiobook. It covers a pretty good narrative of like what your life is like if you're kind of on the high IQ and you kind of get pestered by all just the dude bros at the lower end that are like, oh, sports ball. It's like, okay. But the thing for me on this one was that it gave some pretty good advice about like, okay, here's the baseline. The baseline is supposed to cover everyone, and that turns into the center, aka 100 IQ. If you don't want to end up there, here are some options for how you can kind of escape it and how you can get away from that stuff and really cultivate the kind of life and friend group and social life and professional life they want. So from that standpoint, I think I'm right there with you. I think this one's a few good morsels. I'm really torn between like the good soup because it was an enjoyable read, cover to cover, and I like what the guy has to say. I think he's very much in alignment with kind of the way that you and I live our lives, what we kind of think about and talk about. So it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Any objections, sir?
I think a few good morsels is probably all right, but like just looking at some of the other, because I can't see the entire list, just looking at some of the other books on the things for like the stuff that I would want to find in the middle, I would definitely put it on the upper half of the middle, and this I think would go in the lower half of the middle. So, yep, few good morsels it is.
I think I am right there with you. All right, next up, we have a bit of a fun one. Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. This was our book club cooking special where I set a pan on fire to do a little flambe in the middle of it. But overall, like this is a bit of a departure from our normal stuff because we usually focus on like psychology, economics, personal growth, personal finance, that kind of stuff. And then this one was just like, hey, cooking, like how to sustain yourself. Overall, I think the book does a really good job of giving you a baseline of like understanding like how food tastes, how to prepare it, and then a good bit of like how to kind of find your way with depending on what you're craving, what you want out of a dish. So look, fun book, very different book, but still a very fun book. And I gotta say, I had an absolute blast on this one. I apologize, my mic on that stream was terrible because I had it on my neck and I was also eating, so you heard the food go down my throat. But overall, like look, this is one of the most fun streams that I think we've ever done. I had an absolute blast. I ate like a king, and hopefully it at least covered the book well and did a good job of, you know, getting some good tips out there.
I would put this in good soup. I would put this above Aaron Clare's. I'd put it in the yellow. Like because it's yeah, how can salt, fat, acid, heat not be good soup? Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's like this will take someone from 0 to 1. If you know nothing about cooking and you want to be pretty damn good, like this will take you there. Now it's no like galaxy brain stuff, but fuck if this isn't a great book. And I did have a lot of fun covering it. And I'll tell you, like I changed a lot of my cooking habits as a result of reading it. And I even taught my friend who would make spaghetti every Friday with all of his friends back in Washington. I taught him like, bro, if you just load up the water with salt, it like unlocks a different level of flavor in the noodles and shit. So like there's a couple things in that book that just like stand the fuck out that change all of your habits. I wouldn't say it's galaxy brain, but I would say it's fan fucking tastic. So I'd put it in good soup. What do you think?
I think I'm right there with you, if anything, just for the flavor of what we're going for here. But I will say one of the really nice things about this book was that it does take you from that 0 to 1, exactly like you talked about, which is it kind of assumes that you like know nothing, but like not like know nothing in the sense that like you don't know anything, but it's like, okay, you know a kitchen, you don't really know what you're doing in there, and it really walks you through the basis of like, here's what we do, here's why we do it. Take this, we can also add it to the other thing, which I also just walked you through of here's what we do and here's why we do it. And then you can merge it all together and you can really elevate your cooking just from this book alone. It's not a recipe book. There are recipes in it, but the majority of the book is narrative, it is text, it is talking you through certain things, it is a description of the process. It's not just a recipe book like an encyclopedia. And for that, I really like it. And by the way, I did personally give this book a taste review, and I can confirm it tastes like paper.
I'd forgotten about that.
No, I still have that book on my counter, and I still have that torn out page from where I
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
it's a fun book, and it also, like, if you buy the actual physical book, it's got a whole bunch of tables and charts and things that we couldn't really explore with the audio copy, but it's got all sorts of like really cool diagrams and other things, and you do get a copy of it if you buy the Audible version, but the physical book is fantastic itself. So I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, this is one of the books for sure that I recommend getting in physical form. A, because it does have a resource for you to use, and also like it's a good book. It feels nice in the hand. It's a good read, and like hear me out. It's also a decent conversational piece. Like if you want to like have it out on the table or something, people are like, oh, you like cooking? You're like, oh yeah, I'm learning about it. There you go. Boom. It is decor as well. What's not to love?
Yep. Well designed.
Yeah. Alrighty, let's get on to it. Kind of one of the first big hitters here. The Creature from Jekyll Island. This was a book talking about the story of the creation of the Federal Reserve and all the kind of cloak and dagger shadow games that went on around it, and what it does, what it did in the early years, and how it's kind of lived up to now. For the folks at home, the Federal Reserve is the centralized bank of the United States, but it is really neither federal nor a reserve, because what it does is it is the institution that is responsible for printing money here in the side of the United States. And it is largely controlled by a group of governors, or the representatives of the board, if you will. They have 12 branches around the United States, and there are also a selection of other folks that are on there from both finance and also government appointees. So the Federal Reserve is that thing that we pretty much cover every 45 days, pretty much 6 times a year, where we talk about whether or not they're going to adjust interest rates, or they're going to actually affect quantitative tightening or easing, aka putting money into the economy or pulling money out of the economy. The way that they do that is that they sell or buy bonds. If they buy bonds, it means they're buying bonds out of the market, putting their money into the market. The opposite is also true. If they're selling bonds, it means they're pulling money out of the market, putting bonds into the market. The big thing here, though, is that when you do this, you are affecting the money supply, because they are the only people that can print money. Therefore, by that buying and selling, that is how you fluctuate the amount of cash inside of the system, aka liquidity, for the markets and also the banks, because at the end of the day, they got to make sure their balance books are up to snuff. And when they don't balance, they can't borrow from each other. They borrow from the Federal Reserve. So unfortunately, we will never be able to get that beautiful Federal Reserve interest rate, because we are not the tippity top of lenders out there, and our interest rates are based off of that, but we will never be below it. So overall, this book, I remember it being about 12, 13 hours long, and I listened to it double speed, and it felt like a fever dream conspiracy tinfoil hat fueled adventure. It gave you the full-on narrative from the original idea to the formation to the implementation, and even some of the things they did in their early years. This was a crazy book, and it was also a crazy stream, because we had our buddy Johnny Chaos come on, and we did a 3-hour special for this one, and he gave us really a good look into what is fractional reserve banking, how does this affect that, and then also how is fractional reserve banking seeping into everything else going on in the economy, including crypto. So that's where we got it. Overall, this is a dense book, and this is a heavy topic, but I think it's also a very important topic. So Will, what were your thoughts on this one?
It sounded like you were about to say, and so I think it should go into a few good morsels, which is where I think it should go for precisely exactly what you were describing. Lots of great information in there, lots of good info. I don't think it's quite interesting thoughts. I think it's a step above that. And I also don't think that it's good soup. I think that this is something to hand to your like crazy uncle at Thanksgiving. It'd be like, you were right all along, and here's the proof. You know, it's like it's not groundbreaking. It's also historical. So it's not like it's giving us a whole lot of actionable information. It's just a documentation of things already passed. But I think that it's important history, so that way it doesn't get repeated and stuff like that. So I would leave it in a few good morsels where you currently have it. What do you think, Z?
I think that is the correct spot for it. The reason I think it's the correct spot is because it's long, it's heavy, it's dense, and a lot of the stuff they cover is not necessary to understanding what is the Federal Reserve and what is their role.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's definitely not interesting thoughts, because there's a lot of factual information there, and it's definitely one side of the historical telling. So there's another book that we're going to cover later on, which is like the pro Federal Reserve side. It's not quite like full on anti Federal Reserve, but at the same time, it definitely paints a picture of like, yeah, this is kind of where things went sideways. This is kind of where we really got into that whole fiat currency thing that ultimately led to the currency being debased by getting off the gold standard. So I think I'm right alongside with you there for a few good morsels. Like, it's a long book, it's an interesting book, but at the same time, what you're really going to get out of it is only a couple bits.
Yeah, I think that's a good analysis.
Fair enough. Alrighty, tell you what, we got another one. Another money book, Pirate Money. This one was written very recently, actually, within the last decade. What this is talking about is what is going on with money? What is fiat money? Why does it kind of suck? And then inside of the United States in particular, this is very much a US focused book because they look at certain provisions that already exist inside of the US Constitution about what is money, who has the ability to print it, and they propose solutions whereas states are able to actually create their own gold and silver coins to pay debts between each other. So theoretically, what if we also expanded this to crypto? What if it also is like you have a debit card with a certain state bank or a bank licensed by the state to have a currency that is actually backed by something, whether it's gold, silver, or cryptocurrency, Bitcoin in particular, because that was the big one when this one was written. So overall, fun book, nice and short too. I want to say this one actually came in at about 4 hours on the Audible, so I appreciate that very much. So, Will, what are your thoughts on this guy?
I want to hear where you would put it because I think I'm going to be a little bit critical of this book.
That's fair. I think that this one falls into a few good morsels for me. I think it's definitely below The Creature from Jekyll Island. I think that this is a succinct introduction to the concept of what is money, what are the issues with our current money, and what are some potential possible solutions. Granted, hear me out. Last I checked, we haven't created a new currency inside of the United States, so the stuff in this book did not get implemented. At the same time, though, it does do a decent job of giving people that onboarding into thinking about what is money. Like, not just like how much money do I have in the bank, but like, okay, I have the dollar bill in my wallet. What is it good for? What can I do with it? It's a good onboard to that. So because of that, and just the length of the book, the way it's written, I find it interesting. I found it. We've covered this stuff so many times before. So even after that, if I can find it still as an interesting and enjoyable read, like yeah, for me, I'm putting it in a few good morsels. It's definitely at the lower end, but that's where I want to put it. What about you, good sir?
I would put it in interesting thoughts, and I'm hesitant to do so, but like the dude at the end of the book kind of like begs the audience to follow his idea without really like doing it himself, sort of thing. And I remember like thinking at the time, like, that's kind of weak. This is sort of lame. It's like, just go do the thing you want to do. Like, go make the companies you want to make, go buy the gold, go do the stuff. And I will say, like that sentiment aside, a little tangent is that Pirate Money goes in really well with the teachings of Brendan Joe Williams, with the Guide to the Most Beautiful Woman in the World, the United States of America. Not in the quality of the content, but in the fact that like money is literally defined in legal definition as gold and silver coins. And what we currently use is not money. We use currency. We use negotiable instruments that are either basically like a blank check with unspecified instruction or with specific instruction. So like if I sign a check like payable to the bearer, like give $100 million and I just like let go of it, then anyone can grab it and it's very specific. But if I sign a check like pay to the order of Zenith Crypto on this date, this specific amount, then it's like, there's special instructions on that. So currently what we use in the monetary system, or like the currency system of America, is we use promissory notes, and we use promises to pay and demands to pay, and that's what the United States uses as a currency. It does not use money. It uses a fiat currency, not money. So it's like this pirate money thing kind of it exemplifies that. And a lot of people use the wrong word when they use the word money, and it's like, it's trained into us. It's part of the culture. So it's like, we got the wrong word, and legal definitions be damned. But like, for the people that want to get like really pedantic and semantic about things, it's like, yeah, the word money is very important, and in a legal sense, it has a very specific use case. And in UCC3, like that talks about it, the Uniform Commercial Code of the United States, it talks about like what is money and what do you do with it, and blah-de-da-de-da-de-da. So anyways, all that stuff is taught in Brendan Joe Williams' Contract Killer course that you guys can find if you follow more of Brendan Joe Williams stuff and like go to his Pickleteria website, onestupidfuck.com. Super fun and awesome, clever place over there. I fucking love it. He is a degen through and through. But like back to pirate money. It was an interesting book, an interesting concept. I don't see it being applied. I don't see it being useful information for the reader as far as like what kind of action can you take as a result of reading this book. But it does have a few interesting thoughts in it. So that's why I would put it in the interesting thoughts section. And it would mostly be to save room in a few good morsels, and because I know that we have to put something in interesting thoughts, and it can't just be, you know, Zenith's alter ego bad guy books. So we must sacrifice something to the gods to get the good harvest this year.
No, I think you're entirely correct. So, does this book teach some good fundamentals? Yes, it does. At the same time, though, you can also get those fundamentals from a handful of the other books that are probably even on the list tonight, and will also give you much more to do with it to take it further beyond that. So, hear me out. Like, did I enjoy it? Yeah. At the same time, though, I think you're correct. I think Interesting Thoughts is the correct spot for this one.
Okay. Excellent.
Well argued, sir. Alrighty, tell you what, we're going to cover one of yours. We have Miss Manners' Guide to Excruciatingly Correct Behavior. So this one is an etiquette guide talking about what you should and should not do inside of polite society. What you can get out of this one is really how to behave and, I guess, act like a normie or act proper. Maybe even put some of the King's English on it, if you will. And this was a bit of a longer book, but at the same time, it's an interesting read because the way the author tackled it was from that kind of like the newspaper column, right in the weekly thing, and then the author responds style.
Dear Abby
So
kind of stuff.
Yeah, Dear Abby, exactly. So there's a lot of lessons, and it covers a lot of topics.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, Will, the floor is yours on this one, good sir.
I think a few good morsels would be a good spot for this one. It's got a lot of information in it, and the density, it's not dense in that the topics are very like thoroughly covered. It's dense in that there's a lot of things that she talks about. So this would be like a good reference book. This would be like, oh no, I find myself in this situation, what do I do? And a lot of it's, you know, just like it's made up letters to a made up like subject matter expert, and it answers a whole bunch of questions and things. But like the core thesis of the book is that you can't control how others behave, but you can control how you respond, and you can control like how you communicate your boundaries to other people. And I think that that's really important, and that's the biggest takeaway. So I would leave this in a few good morsels. What do you think?
I think a few good morsels is a accurate category for a reference book like this one. Are you going to get 100% out of the book upon your first read? Probably not. I would argue definitely not. At the same time, though, yeah, it's a lot. That's part of it too. But at the same time, though, coming back to it, like if you are going to reread this one, or you have a question, like you remember it was covered in this one thing, you're just curious how it happens, because guess what? We don't go to funerals every day. We also don't get invited to fancy dinner parties every day. I mean, unless you do, must be nice, but not me personally. I like hanging out with the boys, having a classy Rainier, if you will.
A Rainier.
A Rainier. Rainier, even. Yeah. But I think a few good morsels is a good category for this. I think at the same time, though, like this is a bit of a dying art in society these days. I think that I know this is me going on the soapbox here, and I apologize, but I think that social degradation is a real thing. How to exist inside a polite society is even becoming a question of whether you should do it or not, with all the different like kind of debates and culture wars that are going on, and whether or not it's exercising existing power structures over each other or whatnot. But at the same time, though, like I think that having polite society is very important, and understanding and giving people an on-ramp to understand this, because if you're sitting on the outside, it definitely feels like an insiders only club about like they speak a different language and they do weird things that signal to each other. But in reality, what it is just like it's trying to create a space that is accessible for all people that are willing to play the game, aka enter into polite society. And there's good stuff you can take away from this. And one of the things I appreciate about it is that it doesn't make you feel stupid for asking the question. And there's some real
Yes.
awkward spots out there. Like, what do you say to a person at a funeral? How do you treat that? How do you handle that? Like, at a glance, unless you've been through it before, you're just going to step on your own toes and you're just going to feel like an idiot afterwards. This book will hopefully help you at least find your way through some of those things and give you a different perspective or understanding about like how other people are feeling, how you can navigate these complicated situations, that kind of stuff. So look, a few good morsels, I'm right there with you.
All right, sweet.
Alrighty, tell you what, I want to skip ahead a little bit.
Ooh, let's do it.
Think like a Roman emperor. This one in particular centers around Marcus Aurelius, one of the great emperors of Rome back when it was an empire. And it is not Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, which is his famous book, but this is Think Like a Roman Emperor. So it takes a lot of the lessons, distills them, applies them, and it gives you great historical scenarios and stories as well about all the things that happened. It does a decent job of giving you the context around what philosophy was around this time. There are a lot of great historical thinkers that came before him, namely like Plato, Socrates, that kind of stuff, and a ton of people that came afterwards, namely a lot of the stuff that we do in the modern world. But if I had to give this one a tagline, it would be Stoicism Explained. That is what this does. It explains why Marcus Aurelius was a Stoic, how he applied it, and what were the benefits of doing so. And hey, for this one, we actually had Dr. Alan Chen on, and I remember this one being a really, really good stream and a really, really good read. It's a little bit on the longer side. I remember it being 10 plus hours, but at the same time, though, I enjoyed it cover to cover, like genuinely.
Are you sure it was 10 plus hours? My memory must be phasing me because I thought it was like 45 minutes or something. I know I listened to this one a ton of times, but okay, I will take your word for it because you definitely have a better memory than me. I agree with Alan. I actually use a lot of principles from that book to this day. I would be inclined to put this one up into Galaxy Brain, and if not that, then definitely into Good Soup. Like this is it's. I think it's like tickling the line of Galaxy Brain, and it's probably better suited into Good Soup. But I think this is a fantastic book that can really change someone's life, like a whole bunch. Tons of actionable advice in here, tons of great lessons, tons of good history, and I think that this is the sort of thing that can really turn a person around and help them become way more effective in life. And for that reason, I would put it in Galaxy Brain. But if not that, then definitely in Good Soup. What do you think?
I'm right there with you. I think that this was Galaxy Brain for sure. The reason I say that is that this is one of the books that actually qualifies as life-changing. Like thank you, good sir. What they talk about in this book is to the level and the way that they explain it to also get you to that level. It was fantastic, and you can genuinely build like life-altering ideas and habits and thoughts around this kind of stuff. Look, we may have to cover Meditations by Marcus Aurelius sometime later, but as a good precursor to this, I think it's fantastic, it's practical, and a lot of the lessons, they explain what the person was thinking, why the person was thinking it this way, and what was positive about it. And they also even laid out some possible other solutions about like, okay, like let's say that Marcus Aurelius saw the armies of his generals marching towards Rome in defiance of him, and instead of slaughtering all the legions, or rather, instead of just like getting rid of the leader and then kind of forgiving the legions for following orders, he slaughtered the legions. Well, here's what would happen. Here's all the negative possible ramifications. Here's why it's more of an emotional appeal instead of a logical appeal. Like, I cannot stress that this one is good. It's just solid. And the core philosophy behind it is just teaching you to be solid in yourself and your thinking and how to rationalize all these different steps and really look at the bigger picture. Because that's one of the big things for me about the Galaxy Brain category is that this is a big picture book. It shows you the level of thinking about not just one individual scenario, but how it fits into the web that is like your life and reality around you. So because of that, like I'm very, very happy to put this in Galaxy Brain, no doubt.
Hell yeah. Excellent.
I dig it.
I'm in hard agreement.
And by the way, Alan is saying he thinks that this was his first book club ever. If it was, good sir, that was a hell of a club to join for your first one. Well done. Well done.
Fuck yeah.
Alrighty. I will admit, this next one, I don't think I was actually on for this one, but it is an important book. This is Eat Right for Your Body, with the number 4 in particular. So, Will, what is this book? What did you guys cover?
I think that this book is probably in a few good morsels. This was recommended to us by our good friend Dace Northal of the Degen Roundtable leadership team, and he was speaking about how it had helped him change his life and basically make it so he could eat food again without having to like just suffer the entire time, because he was trying to figure out like what sort of nutrients and what sort of like good things and bad things, like the lipids and the proteins and the way that things interact with your blood vessels and stuff. It was throwing him all a whack, and then he got recommended this book, and the book is mostly anecdotal evidence, but it's not like I think you were the one that told me this, Zenith. The plural of anecdote is data, right? So it's like it's two doctors. It's two doctors with with like around 20 years experience. I think it's a father and son, and they got together to write this book. And it's basically like the book centers around, there's 4 general blood types. You have O, A, B, and AB, and those are the 4 basic blood types, removing positive and negative, all that stuff. And basically, like, there's different dietary profiles that benefit each of those different 4 blood types, right? So the O blood type, more carnivorous. The A blood type benefits generally from being more vegetarian. The B blood type is like benefits from having a lot of fish, and but like can't have dairy and stuff. And then AB can like do a little bit of everything. That's like the general gist of the book, but it's super useful if you're a person that like is looking for niche information on a subject. So I think that it belongs in a few good morsels, because it can certainly change someone's life. But it's not like, you only have 1 blood type out of 4, so the book's basically going to be 25% useful to you, right? So it's that 25% is great, but like I do think it's a fantastic book. This is one of the ones that I would probably run through AI and have it like try and help me develop like a really good food plan or something, if I didn't know anything about food and wanted to sort of kind of experiment. I think that it's a good book. It's very useful, past the point of being just a couple interesting thoughts, and that's my thoughts on it. Did you have the opportunity to skim it or to like absorb any of the information?
I got a little bit out of it. I've also covered this topic relatively extensively just through what I've done with my life, like sports physiology and all that kind of stuff. So the basic premise is like, look, what I like about being an engineer is that dealing with things as they are in the material world is that they will always be exactly what they are and nothing more. When it comes to people, there is a hard science behind it, but at the same time, there's also a good spread about how like the physical body and the old flesh and blood reacts. So there are basic principles, but at the same time, understanding your genealogy, understanding your lineage, and understanding your body type, whether it's your different build or literally your blood type in this case, it can definitely be beneficial to your health, your diet, what you want to do, how you feel, all that kind of stuff. So look, I have no dog in this fight on this one, but at the same time, based on what you've described and hearing you guys talk about this one, this sounds about the correct category for it. Will, you are muted, good sir.
Oh snap! You're right. I am muted. I'm sure that if I changed my diet and I had crazy results, like I would be inclined to put this higher. I like what you were saying. I already basically knew most of this information, and so like wasn't anything world changing to me. But if Dace was on this podcast, he'd probably be like, "Yeah, dude, put it in Galaxy Brain because like it basically saved me." Like some people find themselves in different scenarios and things. So my own personal value for it, a little bit different. But I think that like I think that it's still a great book, and whether you know this stuff or not, it's good to have this this kind of preventative maintenance education, the PME, if you will.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Alrighty, on to the next one. We have Market Wizards. This one is an exploration into a bunch of different traders of the last 50, 60, 70 years that have been successful and understanding why their methodology has been successful and what they focus on. We covered people that purely went based off of market sentiment. We covered people that purely went off of technical information or technical analysis, aka the charts, if you will. And we also had people that were a blend of it. But there also was a few underlying currents through the whole thing, regardless of which trader you were looking at. And one of those big ones was risk management. Risk management really was the name of the game when it came to everybody, whether it was doing well in the good times or trying to hunker through the bad times. Every single one of the guys had an answer for that question, and a very solid one at that. So the way that the book works is that it's structured through a series of interviews with a bunch of the traders over the years. And keep in mind, these are guys that have been trading since like literally the 50s, 60s, 70s, and even some of the more modern guys when it comes to the digital age. So there's a lot of wealth of information, in particular because psychology of markets really doesn't change because psychology of humans doesn't change. Is this directly applicable to the crypto markets? I would argue a large degree so, yes. At the same time, though, there are some fundamentals that are different. So it's not a direct one-to-one, but the baseline lessons that I think we drew out of this one were really time-honored classic traditions of managing your emotions, managing risk, understanding your market, understanding your edge. And I think that all those guys did those things, and there's a wide variety of stories in this one, but they all centralize on that single point of we are here in the markets to understand what they are and make money. We are here to win, and we're here to win big. And I got to say, the guys in the book, they won massive. One might even say they won hugely, bigly.
They won
Bigly.
bigly.
All right, where do you want to put this one, good sir?
I would keep it in a few good morsels, and I'd be tempted to put it in interesting thoughts, but I do know that these guys won big. So it's good that they all shared the information. And I also do think that like risk mitigation is one of the more important things that a person can learn in their life. So like I'm fine with keeping it in a few good morsels. What do you think?
I thought this one was good soup. I think
Oh,
that this
okay.
one in particular, for especially what we're trying to do with book club, is this is theoretically the dream of like what you could be. And this is talking to those guys in person, getting the details, getting the nitty gritty. And it really shows good fundamentals. And it shows you how there are different avenues to win in the market based on what your edge is. But as long as you have an edge and you use it well and you have good risk management, you can manage yourself, manage your emotions, you can win. So I thought this one was good soup, but it's good, sir. You're even putting it down at interesting thoughts.
I mean, you know, it didn't speak to me as much, and I don't do a whole lot
That's
of the
fair.
technical analysis, the fundamental analysis. But I'm fine with putting it up into good soup if it like it doesn't mean that to me, but if it means that to you, it's out. You've made a good case for it. So
Okay, if you don't mind, I'll put it up there for now. We can revisit it at the end.
sure, I have no problem with it. Is what I'm saying. Like I thought it was a decent book, and you know, I was like, oh, this is interesting. It didn't really change my life. I remember at the time when I was listening to it, I was down doing some work in Baton Rouge, so I know where I was when I was listening to this. I remember crossing the train tracks and things while
I dig it.
while that was playing.
I love
But yeah,
it.
throw it in good soup. Why not?
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Next one, we have one of the only redos of the channel. We covered The Speed of Trust by Stephen Covey. This was a book that was an earlier recommendation on from our good friend and mentor, RG3, the pirate himself. But this book, I think we all agreed was fantastic because it breaks down kind of an intangible idea of what is trust and gives you tangible things about what it is and how to affect it. At a base, there are pretty much 4 core principles of trust. It's honesty, integrity, competency, and capability. Those are the 4 cores. Outside of that, you go into chapter 2, or I guess if you take out the introduction, you do. So chapter 3 at that point is 13 different ways that you can build trust, and then how to take it too far, how to not take it far enough, what are the benefits, what are possible drawbacks. This is, I think we've talked about it last time. This book really is all encompassing when it comes to the idea of like what is trust, how to build it, what are the benefits of trust, and the concept of trust in and of itself is an intangible topic that is massively important to everyday life, markets, countries, relationships, the world, whatever. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it up there because I think it's still relevant and still accurate. I think this is a Galaxy Brain book, and
I agree.
it deserves its spot for sure.
100%. I mean, that's why we listened to it twice. It's definitely like anyone could use this. In fact, everyone should use this. This is a book that I would prescribe to everybody in all walks of life, and to read it often, because like you need to know how to make yourself trustworthy. And if you don't think you need to do that, then, perhaps your hubris will be your undoing. But I think that I agree, dude. Galaxy brain for sure. Folks should understand this stuff and employ it as often as possible. And the world will be a better place if that's done.
Agreed. Alrighty, next one we got coming up is Chasing Daylight. This was a book about a man who had terminal cancer and how he spent his final months and what he learned as a result of it. It's a shorter read for sure, and it's a very interesting view into a portion of life that we really don't have a whole lot of information about, because, well, guess what? You can't write about your death once you're dead. It's kind of, once your hand stops moving, the book ends. But this was a book detailing that stuff, what is important to the guy, and what he discovered as part of the process, and kept it going as long as he could until he did ultimately pass. So this is a complicated one for me. I'm curious to hear where you want to jump off on this one, Will.
I remember this book. I remember having an emotional reaction to this book when I first read it. I was like, "Oh, damn, this fucking sucks. This is like, I can't imagine going through this sort of thing." I don't remember much of the book other than I was like, "Wow, this is interesting. I'd never thought about what it is like to die before." I would be inclined to put it in interesting thoughts. Simply because it is interesting thoughts, and I don't think that everyone can use this multiple times. You could use the information in this book exactly once.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say you would only get use out of this one time,
but
maybe twice if you're lucky for some reason. But realistically, one time.
And like realistically, it could be one of the most important things that a person ever thinks about and learns, is making their passing like a not horrible experience for everyone around him. And I think that that's something that this dude really transformed, at least the idea of like, hey, I'm going to die, so I'm going to make it not suck for as many people as possible. And I think that that's a very novel idea, and most people don't know when they're going to die, and most people aren't ready for it when they die. You see it a lot, like back when I was in the Marine Corps, and I don't know if this is something you did while you were in the Coast Guard, but we had to fill out like power of attorneys all the time. We had to write wills. We had to
Life insurance. Who does it go
yeah,
to?
yeah, we had to write down like official Marine Corps notification of next of kin if something happens. We had to have like a plan of what happens to all of our stuff in the barracks room if we like die in a gunfight or something overseas. There was all sorts of contingencies that we had to go through. So this is something that like I'm not terribly unfamiliar with. And then in the civilian world, I've dealt with several people passing and things, and so like this is something, unfortunately, that like I've thought quite a bit about. And I think that for people who have not been around death or who have not done these sorts of things, this could be a very important book to read. And it is short. It does not take a long time. I think this is one of the first books that I ran through the Plod AI audio summarizing tool that I have. And I do think it's got some good ideas in it. But it's like very niche information. Very important, but very niche. What do you think?
I think I'm right there with you. I don't want to be callous and downplay a man who literally on his deathbed was writing out what it's like to be there, what he's thinking about, how to make it better on the people around him. But I think one of the big takeaways that you can take outside of like how to die 101 is how to live. And the guy talks about what he cared about, what mattered most, what he didn't care about, all that kind of stuff. So it's an interesting concept, but I think it's a little hard to wrap your head around. And I don't think it's as fundamental as a lot of the other books we're going to cover tonight. So like, I'm going to put it in interesting thoughts. If anything, I'll do this. I'll bump it above Pirate Money, because I think it's a little more important than that one.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
At the same time, I think that's where it goes.
Yeah, a very important topic, but it's for the most part it's
heavy
irrelevant
topic
to the way that you live your life.
Very heavy topic.
Yeah.
Alrighty, on to the next one. A time-honored classic, 1984 by George Orwell. This is a purely narrative-driven story written before 1984, before that, in fact. What it talks about is pretty much a society where you are ruled and controlled by Big Brother. And this one explores the story of a man who's living in this world, trying to find his way through it. And at one point, he even finds his way into the underbelly, or the correctional period of it. And this one is a classic because it talks about the surveillance state. I think it really does a good bit talking about the human experience and then also human will and what you care about, what you're willing to do to protect these things, and how far society can and will take you if you are unprepared for it. This truly was one of the books that was ahead of its time and predicted things that kind of came true in the modern era, and definitely proved true back during the Cold War when we were having the war of ideologies between capitalism, socialism, communism, that kind of stuff, and what society would look like. So, I hear me out. I think this is a Galaxy Brain book, and I understand why, because the things that you see in this book and the experiences that you see through the character's eyes and then also a reflection in our own world, it's the point that it's scary, which is like it is the Black Mirror of books. This is the original Black Mirror right here. It talked all that. You go through love, betrayal, reconditioning, punishment, what is true. Like that is one of the things that's covered in the book, and it shows it in full graphic detail as well. So for me, this would be a Galaxy Brain. I'm curious to hear where you think this one goes, Will.
I'm tied between Galaxy Brain and Interesting Thoughts.
Hear me out. I think that is the correct distinction. This is either tippy top or it's like,
Yeah, and it's like, and that's what it's going to be for most people. And you struck a really great note there. What is truth? This book really questions and really throws out what is truth, and it's part of what fed into my whole like, oh, it's all campfire stories, way of thinking, is like everything that you hear from everyone ever is almost always trying to sell you something and is almost always trying to do something. So like if you take away the power of them trying to sell it and just turn it into like, oh, it's raw information and I can decide if I give a fuck about it or I can decide if I don't give a fuck about it, right? Like you take away someone else's power to influence you, then you're going to be winning in life. And I think that 1984 is a book that really highlights this is what happens when you let other people influence the way that you think, when you let the government, the Ministry of Truth, the newspapers, Google, Mossad, Israel, the Russian propaganda, whatever you want to call it, right? The Alex Jones sending you transmissions direct from tinfoil hat to tinfoil hat from his base in Antarctica, right? This book is what highlights what happens when everyone just like falls lockstep in line, does the easy thing, doesn't like resist, and people become untrustworthy, people become sloppy, people become unattractive. This is what happens when you have a whole bunch of people that just kind of like go along to get along, live in the middle of the bell curve, live lives of excessive mediocrity or something like that. And I think that in many senses you can tie a lot of parallels of where we're at right now to what it talks about in the book. And I'm quite positive when he wrote it, there was a ton of parallels. They might have been doing it in the newspapers instead of doing it on Google, it on Twitter and Facebook and the Five Eyes program or whatever, right? As the technology gets better, the government's ability to spy on you gets better. And so does your ability to like resist it. And so it's going to, all the things that are around you are going to become more bread, more circuses, more dopamine, and the audio rendition of 1984 was definitely creepy as fuck. I agree. Good. That's an excellent point there, Alan. I think that it does belong in Galaxy Brain or in Interesting Thoughts because it's like, whatever. Who gives a shit kind of thing, So it's like, do you want to pay attention to the problems that could happen, or do you want to be a person that like just kind of like goes through life and doesn't learn and doesn't it's Galaxy Brain if you take the red pill, it's Interesting Thoughts if you take the blue pill. The choice of which Matrix pill to take is totally yours, but that's how I see this 1984. So it's like You can swallow some uncomfortable truths, and it is a longish book. And it's mostly story driven instead of like information driven. But the author does a pretty good job.
Even inside of the narrative-driven portion, it does a very good job of trying to portray realistic human relationships between men, women, society, work, war, all these kinds of things. And if I can say one thing of praise about this book, to this day, this book has an ending that is still up for debate amongst the DGen Roundtable. And I might be the holdout on this one, but it is up for interpretation about exactly how it ends, but the overall message still hits excruciatingly hard to this day.
Yep.
True.
I like it. Let's leave it in Galaxy Brain.
I like it. Alrighty, let's try to run through a few quickly here. So tell you what, all about Bitcoin. This was our 2-hour one-time speed audiobook giving you an introduction to Bitcoin and its use cases. I think, Alan was actually on the stream for this one, and the way that we covered this book was how good of an introduction into cryptocurrency is this book. And I think that it's not super deep, but it gives you just enough to onboard people, which is the main thing we were talking about in that show. And it really, it doesn't do the full-on blown what is money thing. It gives you a little bit of a taste of that. It gives you the introduction to what is blockchain, what is cryptocurrency, what are its uses, what are the benefits, that kind of stuff. So for me personally, this is interesting thoughts. Great on board, but as a book, it's not going to really expand your horizons.
I'll say that my ABC cursive book was really important in kindergarten. But now that I'm no longer in kindergarten anymore, I'm not going to go back and reread it. So I would also leave it in interesting thoughts because I've passed this point of this book being useful. And I would say, yeah, interesting thoughts. Now, if somebody knows nothing about Bitcoin, this would be a great book, fantastic book. But
yes,
yeah, that's where I'm at with it. It's like I'm not going to go back and revisit my my second grade social studies literature.
I'm right there with you. Alrighty, next one up. We have The Great Accounting Frauds. This was a look back into some of the great accounting frauds over the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years. It did cover some cool big ones, such as Enron, the 2008 financial crisis, the dot-com bubble, COVID. It talked about all those, and it did an after-action report saying what went wrong, what can we learn, and at the end of the day, honestly, it was kind of just like human nature, which is you build a environment where people are incentivized to behave poorly and behave dishonestly and fudge the numbers, believing that someone else is going to be able to fill in their mistakes when it all comes crashing down. So, interesting read. At the same time, though, in my opinion, this is solidly an interesting thoughts because it's an after action report. There's not much to learn outside of what we already know. But if you're curious about how these things went down, it does a pretty good job of breaking it all down and being like, here are how people have screwed up in the past. Don't do that.
Yeah. And also, is this book applicable to anyone in our audience? Probably not. You're probably not going to be conducting great accounting frauds in the near future. And if you are, this book might help you, but might not, because they've already been caught. So they're already looking for these things. So I don't know. I think interesting thoughts is good. It's a good spot for it. Good data, good information, not very actionable, not very useful.
True. Alrighty, next one might be slightly different here. We have Hijacking Bitcoin by Roger Ver. This is the boots on the ground story of what was going on in Bitcoin during the early days. It gives you a detailed explanation of how the chain worked, how people wanted it to work, what the overall interpretations were, and the actual ongoing politics and infighting amongst Bitcoiners about how to take the chain forward into the future. I'm actually conflicted on where to put this one because from the crypto perspective, this is the lost history. This is things you're not going to really hear anywhere else, especially when people like us, we've only been in crypto for 4 or 5 years at this point. This predates us by 5 or 6 years, maybe even a decade. This is the lost history. Is it an interesting read? Yes, absolutely. Is it critical to you, especially today? The answer is unfortunately no. But if you want to know where this stuff is, it's right there. This is the history of crypto. This is the battles that they fought. They literally used Reddit and websites to advertise certain block upgrades about what they wanted the future of Bitcoin to be.
I'm torn between good soup and a few good morsels, because it's like, hey, this is something that that like 5 developers essentially determine the direction of Bitcoin. And so it's like, who's to say that doesn't happen again? Because 5 people didn't have consensus over something.
Agreed.
And when the entire market wanted it to happen, it's like, is the blockchain going to get held hostage again? Who knows? And like, here's the like the not the dirty laundry, but like, here's some of the shady shit that was happening behind the scenes in the coolest, biggest, bestest currency system that arguably exists in the world. So it's like, I think that it's important history, and I think that this could happen again. And this is probably happening in many things in the cryptosphere right now that we're just not aware of. But yeah, so I would put it in good soup or a few good morsels, and like whichever you would want to put it in. I'd be glad to hear.
I think the correct answer is a few morsels. If you are the hyper niche audience for this one is absolutely good soup. If you are not super interested in this one, it's a few good morsels. So because of that and the split, I'm going to leave it in a few good morsels.
It's a good call. Good call.
Yeah. Alrighty. Tell you what, let's cover Never Split the Difference. This was a kind of sales book based on a FBI negotiator, was it, or SWAT team negotiator?
It's a negotiations book from an FBI negotiator whose job it was to get people back alive from people who had kidnapped them. Was his job. And
Agreed.
So he teaches how to talk to people in such a way as to get the thing that you want done. And in that respect, I'm inclined to put this in Galaxy Brain, because this is the book about manipulation. This is a book about like how to get things you want out of people. And congratulations, you're going to be dealing with people your entire life. So like, I think that this is a book with tons of actionable information, a couple good stories and things. And this could apply to everybody if you just took like the biggest thing that I took from this book that's like super simple is you just replace every word of but with and. And if you want someone to be on your team, then you ask them a question in such a way that they answer no, because the no will empower them, and they'll be like, I feel powerful now. And then they're like, I want to play on your game. So it's like, it's got a bunch of great tiny little tidbits, and it's got a whole bunch of great like regular tidbits and things. So I would be inclined to put it in Galaxy Brain. I'm curious to hear your thoughts though, because I can be persuaded otherwise.
I think this is good soup. This is the other side of the coin from a book we covered last year, which was Way of the Wolf by Jordan Belfort. This is approaching sales from the opposite perspective. This is approaching sales, loose, like definitely quotes there, but this is Jordan Belfort was covering how do I get yes? How do I have the person make the sale? This is, I am a hostage negotiator. My job is to get everyone back alive unharmed. Therefore, you cannot negotiate. You cannot get half of each hostage, because half of each hostage is all dead hostages. This is tackling it from the other side of the coin, which I think is a very good way of looking at it. But at the same time, I don't quite put this in the Galaxy Brain category. Like, you can definitely learn a lot of stuff from this, but I don't know if it's quite fundamental. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair. I would disagree with calling it a sales book. I would say that this is definitely a manipulation book. I would say that both it and The Way of the Wolf are manipulation books, and because this one doesn't teach you how to using the word sale in the way that most people use it, right? Like, I understand that sales means just manipulation and that sort of thing, but like using sales the way that the rest of the world uses language, it's a convincing book. It's a manipulation book, and I think it's incredibly powerful. Like now, like I would totally defer and allow you to put it in good soup. For me, it's Galaxy Brain, like no question. But like, I would accept good soup if that's what it means to you, Zenith.
All right, I'll put it at the top of good soup. We can revisit
because
this
I'm
one.
I'm a good negotiator.
Fair enough. You are a good negotiator, by the way.
Hey, perhaps I've read Never Split the Difference probably 4 or 5 times, and that's before book club. So like this, it's one that I have definitely like ingrained in my DNA.
I like it. I see that and I like it. I think you do a very good job of putting this to practical use.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, tell you what. I want to cover my dark trio.
Yes,
This
I'd put
is
them all.
one-
I'd put them all in interesting thoughts. Done.
All right, so for context here, I did the Devil's Advocate arc where I found 3 books that I specifically thought I would disagree with to understand the other side of the argument that we usually go for, to try to steelman it so that we can then try to argue against the best possible version of that argument. So, 3 books in question are The Price of Inequality, In Defense of Public Debt, and America's Bank, the Foundation of the Federal Reserve. Hear me out. Were these the most enjoyable read? Not particularly. I do think that one of them stood out though, and I'm going to put in a few good morsels, and that's The Price of Inequality. The reason that I say that is that The Price of Inequality actually tickled my brain because it was not a full-on socialist communist book about how capitalism is bad and all that stuff. It talks about manipulation of free markets, and we are very big free market folks here. This is a very realistic view and very practical view about what is going on in present day as the markets exist and what are the manipulations, why they are the way that they are, and what are the powers going on here. America's Bank, the creation of the Federal Reserve, it's the opposite side of The Creature from Jekyll Island. It is the story of creating the Federal Reserve Bank as like this monumentous task about how they accomplished the thing, but even then it covers some of the very early failures of the Federal Reserve Bank, and it's also not the most interesting read. This is a dense read. It covers fundamental topics at a level much higher than any person will ever use in their day-to-day life. So if you really want to learn how the Federal Reserve works with all the different things going on, go there. It'll teach you it. It'll introduce all those topics to you. But overall, it's solidly interesting thoughts. In Defense of Public Debt is talking about how the American government uses, or how societies use public debt for public good. But then it also talks about all the ways that we've gone wrong and how we've gone wrong all those different ways. And look, overall, it's very much like, is fiat currency bad? Yes. Is giving an unlimited checkbook to governments bad? Yeah, most times, yeah. At the same time, though, it does make the pro case of why having debt is good from a government standpoint, because it allows you to do things with the money supply that allow for greater economic expansion. But at the same time, it doesn't really get beyond that. It's still a pretty good book, I will say. Enjoyable read. There's a reason it's in the bottom tier there. But The Price of Inequality, I think, is the standout because it talks about the manipulation of free markets. It argues, actually, that free markets are good. Does it make some bad arguments along the way? Yeah, every once in a while. But overall, out of the 3, I think this is the best of them.
I suppose I could see that. I'm looking through the Telegram right now, and one of the first things I posted was, Zenith, I love you, bro, but this book's author is a whiny little bitch. And then I changed the book's topic icon to like the crying face emoji. Oh man. There were some cool things in this book. I will say that. The thing about the solving longitude was in there. The invention of the chronometer. There's a great quote also in the book: the strong do what they can and the weak suffer what they must. And that's basically just like, hey, if you're on the top part of the power spectrum, then you're going to be doing things, and if you're on the bottom half, then things are going to be done to you. So the way I interpret that is get motherfucking better.
It's pretty accurate, actually.
Yeah, there's a lot of good information in this book. I suppose politicians do not originate ideas. Simple stories often told work way better than complicated ones told on occasion. That's another good, sales thing. Just repeat. Like you see Trump do it. In almost every one of his speeches, he says, it's so great, it's so wonderful, it's so true. It's like, what do people say? Like, that's what Trump says all the time. And if you repeat something often enough, then like people basically get dead horse beaten into believing it. So there's a lot of great information in there. So like despite the author being a whiny little bitch, I will say that this book can sit in a few good morsels if one of them has to.
All right,
So
fair
I
enough.
will allow
fair
it.
enough. Okay, tell you what. Let's talk about the single densest book that we covered this year. That is The Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith. This was
Oh,
a
I thought you were
30
gonna say Chasing Squirrels.
Outwitting Squirrels? No.
Outwitting
We
Squirrels.
will save that one for a special spot. But no, The Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith is the original and fundamental economics book. You could argue it's a libertarian book as well. It covers a plethora of topics, but one of the ones that came out of this is the idea of rent seeking, aka hoarding a resource and then you could argue even extorting the public for use of said resource, like just acquiring land early and then charging exorbitant fees and doing nothing but reaping rewards, that kind of stuff. But it also talks about even the ideas of like investment, speculation, what these do for a market, not just to a market, but how they're even beneficial. This was a long book, and my God, Adam Smith is the guy that cannot get to the frickin' point. So, this is the OG. This is the basis. But at the same time, from a book perspective, this is not a good book.
It's not a like I wouldn't say the dictionary is a good book either.
This is the dictionary of economics. It is. This is the
It's good to
dictionary
have on your
of
shelf.
capitalist thought. Exactly. This is the book that you put out there, and people are like, "Oh, Adam Smith, yeah, good book." And you look at them, and you'd be like, "Did you ever read it? I pray that you never have to."
It's kind of like, oh yeah, the encyclopedia, that's a good book. I've read the whole thing. No. You have that on your shelf as a display item to show, like, look at all this knowledge I have access to. If you understand the wealth of, fuck, I can't. I
If you
minimized
can even
the share
remember
screen.
all of the Wealth of Nations, you have a photographic memory. This thing is so long, it legitimately is self-defeating.
Yep. I think it's pretty good in a few good morsels.
I'm torn between a few good morsels and interesting thoughts just because of how long it is. And
I would say we got to pay the respects, though.
All right,
like,
we'll pay the respects.
We got to pay the respects, which is why we can't put it in interesting thoughts. Like, I don't know how he could get so much information into one book. Perhaps like skipping some sentences or skipping spaces or something. But like, yeah,
finishing the point. He can finish his
paid by
point.
the word, like Dickens. Yeah.
Accurate. If this man was paid by the word in today's day and age, he'd be a billionaire probably, because my God, is it long.
Yeah, it's just AI slop before AI slop. Like, this dude actually spent time typing this shit out. So it's like, Adam Smith, he is the founder. He is
this is pre-foundation of the country.
Yeah. So, like,
before the Constitution, that's how old this is.
So with that being said, like, think about the value of a book back then. It's like, imagine he owned all of the internet websites and he was the one that made them all, like, with his own blood, sweat, and tears. Like, the value of a book then is not the value of a book now. So us reading it now, it doesn't have the same kind of like gravitas as it did then. And so in that respect, I would say that, like, it's past its usefulness as the resource that it is in the medium that it is, right? So, like, just like, encyclopedias aren't as useful now that we have Grokpedia and Wikipedia. Like, they've passed their useful point in the medium that they're in. There's still good stuff, but it's like there's a better way to do this sort of deal. So I would say a few good morsels. From a like a time efficiency and that's to pay my respects. From a time efficiency and like, are you going to be doing good stuff with your time by consuming this book? Then nah, it's interesting thoughts. But like, out of respect for the man, a few good morsels would be my inclination.
This is the original source. Do you need to read the original source? I would argue no. Go watch some YouTube synopsis that's still going to be an hour long because there's so much in it. But fundamentals you can get without reading the book.
Yeah. I'm going to go into ChatGPT and say, I need TLDR of Wealth of nations.
Yeah. Tell you what, let's talk about the better written, more up to date, more succinct version of this. That would
Yeah.
be Basic Economics by Thomas Sowell. This is still a long book. It is 12 hours plus, but at the same time, this covers everything that Adam Smith covers in a shorter amount of time, but from a more modern perspective, written in the late 1900s, I believe, and even updated throughout it. Thomas Sowell is one, hear me out. Thomas Sowell is one of the greatest thinkers of our generation, possibly even all time. Basic Economics is a thorough explanation of basic economics and even a full-on, full-throated rebuke of socialism and all of the perversions of incentives that come along with it. I want to put this one in Galaxy Brain, but I understand the density and the breadth of the topics. I'm fine putting it Good Soup, but honestly, like, this is it's good. It's fundamental. It's everything that Adam Smith wishes he was.
Would you? I'm inclined to put it in Good Soup. That's my preference for this one. Thomas Sowell does some good stuff. I personally don't think it's worth Galaxy Brain, but again, you and I think have different value sets when it comes. It's like,
That's fair.
I'd be inclined to put Never Split the Difference up there. So like I would say that these two probably go at the top of Good Soup.
That's fair. I look. I think we're both open to these being Galaxy Brain, even from whoever said it shouldn't be up there. But like, they're good books. They really are. Just throw through. Alrighty, next up, let's talk about Alpha God. This was a psychological analysis of religious figures and how humans use religious figures as kind of a mirror for what they are and what they value and their usefulness throughout time. Notably for this stream in particular, we used this book as a lens to view certain people in modern day about, are they trying to portray themselves as religious figures, specifically tech and crypto people, and the tactics they're doing along the way. This was an interesting book because it gives you the history of humanity going way back, all the way back to today, and talking about the different kinds of like gods and deities that humans create and what their purposefulness is, what their utility is, and then what they say about what is desirable in that society in that context. So,
and then also like the similarities between primates, like specifically chimp troops and guerrilla troops, or guerrilla clans, whatever you call them, harems, something, and like how they deify one like alpha male of the group, and the way that people treat their deities and entities and things. So like it goes even past the religion, and it takes like similarities between the way that people act, the way that people treat gods, the way that primates act, the way that primates treat like the dude on top. So like I would say that this is either a few good morsels or interesting thoughts, and I would especially encourage like religious people to read this book, simply because it will give them a perspective on the way that faiths are similar, and it will open up a difference in opinion on how to view a thing that they've only ever looked at from one. Like if you only ever look at the moon from the bright side and you never turn around and see the dark side of the moon, then you only know half of what the moon looks like. You don't know the entire idea. So yeah, I would say a few good morsels or interesting thoughts for Alpha God. A good book, definitely, and like kind of fun to read.
Yeah,
and also he talks about the importance of big hats, which I think is fun.
That's true. I think A Few Good Morsels is the spot for this one. I think it's elevated itself beyond interesting thoughts, but
yeah,
the best thing about this book is that this is an amoral analysis of religion in human context. And if you are someone who has emotional ties to religion and you're not willing to kind of like take a step back and look at the entirety of religion, you're not going to get anything out of this book. I will say the author, even at the end, comes to the conclusion that like religion is beneficial to societies, not just a society, but like human society throughout the years, and even argues that having a better understanding of what religion is and like how it's used will even give you a better inside your religion context to whatever it is that you believe and understanding of what exactly is going on, so you can kind of see through like the mysticism and the hubbub and all that stuff and really get to the truth and the core and understand why you believe these things and what they do and why they're beneficial even for people that don't even believe in that set of religion. So
I like it.
Look, the guy sticks the landing, in my opinion. He absolutely sticks it.
Yeah, it was a good book. I would read it again. In fact, I've read it a couple times already. I read it before we ever covered it for book club because I thought it was interesting. And
Interesting
again,
for sure.
big hats. Wear big hats, people. The Pope does it.
That he does. That he does. All right. So the next book I want to cover is The Art of War by Sun Tzu.
Galaxy Brain.
This is a bit of a trilogy. So the three books that are very much related to each other are this one, The 48 Laws of Power, and The Prince by Machiavelli, which we covered last year. This is the original of the three. This is the oldest one out there. This is Sun Tzu, a Chinese general, talking about the art of war. Who knew? I appreciate that it's aptly named. This was a shorter book. I think it was about 6 hours long, and it really talks about how to operate an army from a general's perspective. But there are a lot of really good concepts that you can learn along the way about like fighting, like physical fighting, but also kind of the infighting or the positioning game that goes on in everyday life, whatever field you're in. And there's a lot of tactics he talks about Arceus had the best one here up at the top. Nope. Sorry, Hexagon Lost in Asia. He said fighting without fighting. If you can win a battle without ever fighting the battle, that is the highest degree of winning that you can achieve. That kind of stuff. Be like water. A bit of telling the Chinese aristocrats that yes, troops need logistics and you got to support your troops, that kind of stuff. So, personally, is this Galaxy Brain? No. Is this an absolute time-tested classic? Definitely. And I think it belongs in good soup because there are principles that you can learn whatever your field you're in, and it gives you a better understanding of like the actual game that you exist in, whether you want to play it or not. It's like, this is how things are. This is how you can succeed. This is kind of the ebb and flow. This is reality.
I would agree with good soup. My initial reaction was to throw it into Galaxy Brain simply because of just how crucial I think it is to all walks of life. But I don't think that it's anything profound. So I would definitely say it's foundational, but it's not profound. So yeah, good soup is a good spot for it.
That's the best way of putting it. It is foundational, but not profound. Well said, sir. All right, part 2. The 48 Laws of Power. Hear me out. Even as a placeholder, I'm going to throw this into Galaxy Brain. This is an amoral perspective and view of power dynamics in every part of life and society and how you can work inside and out of them. Some people have called this a very dark book. I think it's only a very dark book if you want to view it as like, oh no, bad people try to do bad things sometimes. It's like, sure, but that's attaching morality to the actions. This is a very in-depth view of how humans operate and the infighting and the in-games that go on between us, no matter who you are, where you are, or what game you are playing. This is comprehensive. Not all of it is as relevant as the most relevant sections, but I don't think anybody can read this book and not get anything out of it. If anything, I think that this will kind of shift the way that you view things, or kind of like put a thought in the back of your head whenever you're having interactions, whether it's the workplace, relationships, out in the world, about what are the power dynamics going on and what are the games that people are trying to play to kind of leverage whatever they got to get the upper hand with whatever it is that they want.
I agree. I do think this belongs in Galaxy Brain because, again, like for the same reason that I would put Never Split the Difference up in Galaxy Brain, I would say the 48 Laws of Power is about controlling yourself. And really, before you try and influence others, you should get a complete grasp over yourself. And yeah, totally up there in Galaxy Brain. Now, is it a long book? Hell yeah, I want to say it's like 20 hours or something. So as far as like. Yeah. As far as being a pleasant book to read, it's more of a reference book, but like I would say almost every damn little bit of it is super fucking crucial. So
One of the most important reference books you can read. This is the reference book for how humans interact with humans.
Yep. Agreed.
Alrighty, tell you what. Let's cover the most recent book that we talked about, Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins.
Hell yeah.
This was an exploration into neuro-linguistic programming about how you can use your brain to affect your thoughts, even your body posture, to get certain desires and reprogram yourself, not to get something you could never achieve, but to optimize yourself and get the best results possible. This is he's a man that does seminars, talking to people, kind of doing this stuff. But this book is the culmination of all the different thoughts of those seminars put down into words in pretty practical use. I'm not going to lie. So, Will, what are your thoughts and where do you want to put this one?
I would put this in Galaxy Brain for the same reason I would put Never Split the Difference, put 48 Laws of Power, put Speed of Trust. I think that this stuff is all about like increasing your potential and your capability as an individual. Like this is the sort, like unlimited power is the sort of shit that will like change your life to where you no longer put up with bullshit. You like you draw the line. You take action when shit's done, or you take action when you need shit to get done. I think that this is definitely one of the more important books that a person can read. So I would throw it in Galaxy Brain, not because again, like a lot of the stuff isn't profound, but it's well, quite a bit of it's profound, but it's incredibly foundational and it will give you a fuck ton of results. So
for me personally, I think this one is closer to Good Soup, but I'm happy to put it in Galaxy Brain. I think that this book really deals with like who we are as people, kind of all the pressures that we feel, but ultimately gives you a path to succeed through all of it and understand who you are, the programming that you have, and how to make the best use out of it. If you go watch the stream that we did covering this one of the things that I talk about for sure is that this is not a 0 to 80 book. This is an 80 to 100 book. This is how to optimize, how to get the best out of yourself. At the same time, though, guess what? If your current capability you feel like only goes to 20, well, guess what? If you take the principles from this book and go from 80 to 100 with your current capabilities, you're going to keep expanding those capabilities until you can do more and more and more. And when you look back after a while, you won't even believe how far back you even started and how far you have come. So, look, I'm happy with it here. I think that out of all kind of like the internalization and like self-discovery stuff, this is possibly the best one that we've covered. It's very niche. It focuses on self-optimization. It's not going to teach you new tactics of negotiation and sales tactics and how to negotiate with people, but it's going to tell you how to master yourself. And I think that that is very, very, very important.
Hell yeah. I like that we're leaving it in Galaxy Brain. I'm very pleased with that.
Alrighty, we're getting down to the last 4 here. So, tell you what. Let's talk about Atomic Habits. This was the book that talks about what are habits, how they form, what is the mechanisms inside of yourself that build habits, and how to effectively reshape them, create new habits if you want. It's definitely that self-help book, but at the same time, though, this is very specifically and hyper specifically looking at habits. What are they? How to break them? How to build them? How do you feel about this one, big guy?
I am trying to remember this book, and I, for the life of me, cannot do it. I'm going through the Telegram right now, and I'm just looking at some of the quotes. The goal is not to read a good book. The goal is to become a reader. Every action that you take is a vote towards becoming the person you choose to be. Man. Oh,
hear me out.
The Diderot effect. One person or one purchase begets another. So be a master of your possessions, not a slave to them. Our sofa makes our new rug look dingy. We should get a new one. Right. The lamp too. And the curtains. Maybe we should move. You know, it's just like, oh man, it's one of the Diderot effect is one of the things that they had in the book. One of the things that stuck out to me though, a really good little ditty is make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. So this is like basically incentivize yourself to start good habits. And I think that principle is really important. So I would say this is probably a good book. I want to hear your thoughts on it.
So real quick, we do have Alan chiming in here. He says, I wanted to be on the stream for Atomic Habits. Had work though. Completely understand. He says, I used principles of that book for some of my clients to help them with eating habits. Yes, this book is not just like a diet book. This is an everything habits book. It is habits in general. So I'm inclined to, I have this personally somewhere between good soup and a few good morsels, but I'm leaning more towards good soup.
Yeah, I think it's perfectly good and good soup. I'm sure if I were to read it again, I would re-fall in love with it. I just simply have too much stuff that enters my brain and not enough space to store it all. So I've totally data dumped this book. Looking through the Telegram though, I'm thinking like, yeah, this is a good book. I should read this book again.
I think I'm right there with you. It's look, I have very fond memories of this book, and I even remember a lot of the principles. But at the same time, in the hierarchy of what we're building here, I think that's where it goes. Not saying it's not a good book, because it's a very good book, very good principles. But at the same time, it's not quite. It doesn't quite reach the same level as some of the other stuff we've talked about.
Yep, I am pretty pleased with this this tier list that we're making. Let's
I am as well.
I'm good with
I am
it
as well.
there.
Alrighty, let's get on to another recent one. The Guide to the Most Beautiful Woman in the World. This is a rewriting of an old army manual, and it talks about patriotism, civic duty, how to fold a flag, but it also gives you a perspective on a lot of like fundamental human principles, like interpersonal relations and that kind of stuff. I really enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed this one book. And by the way, this is a cool one for us in particular because we covered this book. What was it, like 2-3 weeks after it released?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
then,
we got a shout out from the author.
And we got a shout out from the author. So book club, hey, we're getting up there. We're getting some attention, and it felt. I'm not gonna lie, it felt pretty freaking cool to see that, and I was like, oh my gosh, someone's talking about this. But hey, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was fantastic. I had some very specific but very few criticisms of the Picklitarianism ideology at the end. But outside of that, the book is, I think, phenomenal. And it's a damn shame that they retired this army manual because it's some good stuff. And it's a lot of stuff you don't even think about. And by the way, this is the book that Mr. Will Stevenson loves for the description of what is money, what is currency,
yes,
what is a promissory note. This one does a lot of here. This is written from an army manual, but it covers a lot of topics that we've even talked about are the entirety of other books, and we put lower on the tier list. This covers all of them and more, and I would argue it kind of does it even better than those ones did. So, like, where do you want to put this, man?
I'm inclined to put it into good soup. That's what I'm thinking. What do you think?
I think this is the pinnacle of good soup.
Yeah.
I could even be argued up to like the very low part of Galaxy Brain, but like,
well, fuck, let's throw it in Galaxy Brain then. I like that too.
There are some fundamental flaws, very few, but there's one or two. But for me, this is the epitome of good soup. This is the best, hard-and-hittest good soup that there is, and like, this was fantastic. It's short, this covers so much so well in such a short amount of time. It's really, really well written.
Oh yeah.
It's one of the like, outside of all the great stuff it talks about, I still like that fact about this book even more. Like, this book respects your time. It gets the point across. It does a great job of arguing and giving you all the details along the way. And it did it in like less than 8 hours at one-time speed. It's ridiculous.
I think it's fantastic, and I think that it's a great starting point to get people to like start questioning the things that they think that they understand about the monetary system and the currency system and all that stuff. And like, you know, if folks like this book, then they'll love the Contract Killer course that is for free on YouTube from Brandon Joe Williams. And I've captured all of the YouTube links and I've put them in a special little Telegram. So like, if you guys want access to the information, then just let me know. He has the links are sent out from his email system. So like in order for you to get the YouTube links, because they're unlisted on YouTube, you have to get them from someone who already has it, or you have to like be recommended it by YouTube or something along those lines. But I do think that this book is well placed in the good soup category because one, it's man, it's got a good cover. That's some great marketing right there. It's got fantastic content inside. I do agree with Zenith that the Pickleteria stuff at the very end of it is kind of like, that's the author's opinion. So you know,
It is
take
author's
it or leave it.
opinion, but at the same time, like 2/3 of that I think is very good, very well
Yeah.
founded, very well argued. But it's the last third where it kind of gets into like, oh, nothing's real, question everything. It's like, okay, you lost me.
Yeah, there's a couple YouTube videos he's done where he's explained his religion and how he thinks about things and stuff of that nature, which is like is super helpful in like the world of definitions because he's very particular about like the meanings of words and how we define things and where does it come from and where is it written down and where can I find the information, yada yada yada. And he's actually he's an attorney. He's an attorney in fact, rather than an attorney at law, which anybody can be an attorney in fact. But because like being an attorney in fact, you just have to like say like, yes, I'm going to represent this other person, and that is what I'm going to do because they don't want to, or something like that. So it's you don't necessarily, you don't have to play by the same rules as people who have bar card membership, and the law is actually supposed to treat you a little bit more forgivingly, but it's totally a thing that everyone can do. And he's got a law firm, Williams and Williams law firm. It's super interesting. But anyways, enough about him. The book is great. The book covers some fantastic stuff, and lots of things about what a good ideal citizen or national or whatever you want to call it of the United States had ought to do in order to be a good productive member of society. So I like it a lot, and I do think that like the line between Galaxy Brain and Good Soup is a good spot for this to sit.
Agreed. This book achieves, I think, everything it wants to achieve, and it does it well. It doesn't try to be Galaxy Brain, but at the same time, I think it smacks. It hits perfectly. It does its job. Enough said.
Hell yeah.
Alrighty, good sir. Final two. I'll leave it up to you. Which one do you want to cover first? Starship Troopers or Outwitting Squirrels?
I think that Outwitting Squirrels belongs in A Few Good Morsels, and I'll tell you why. I think that it covers, it's really fun, and it covers some interesting information about squirrels, and also it's got some like halfway decent life principles around like persistence and trial and error, and literally just like if you just keep trying things, even when they fail, you try a different thing, you fail, you try a different thing, you fail, and you learn along the way, you get recalibrated, you know. That's something that most people don't do. Most people try it. Oh, I failed. Oh, damn. Well, better luck next time. Just kidding. There is no next time. On to the next thing. This book, it's fun and it's good with persistence. I could be argued to put it down into interesting thoughts, but also just look at that. Look at that
Come
thumbnail.
on.
Or that, it's a squirrel with a mustache, man. Come on. So that's my thoughts on Outwitting Squirrels. What do you think?
No, it belongs in Few Good Morsels, and it belongs above Adam Smith. I will say. This is definitely a mindset and a problem-solving book. Is it lighthearted and fun and just like a fluffy topic? Yes. But at the same time, though, there are actually like good principles that you can take out of this book and like think about how to solve problems and really dissect what's going on with it. Because like the man wants to get rid of the squirrels. He tries everything, discovers the absolute persistence of these fluffy creatures, and ultimately has a healthy respect and appreciation for them. And you can absolutely draw parallels to that and everything else going on in your life about what things are you trying to outsmart, how are they resistant, and ultimately what things are beyond your control and how you can just build a healthy appreciation for it. So like, was this the episode 69 special? Yes. Did we enjoy it? Also yes. Is it still a good book? Definitely yes. So there you go.
I think so indeed.
There you
Excellent.
go.
Let's
Alrighty.
finish it off, Z.
Last one of the evening, Starship Troopers by Robert Heinlein. This is the narrative story that is paralleled by the movie. Different story, similar characters, but in this book you get even more of the philosophical thought and arguments and baseline for some of the things that are actually covered in the Starship Troopers movie. This is a very fun narrative book through and through, especially for all you military types out there. And hear me out. Even in the philosophical thought category, I think it still smacks it out of the park. Like, it covers arguments for, covers arguments against, provides its fictional baseline, still even includes the reality baseline of like our world compared to their fictional world, because they have a different system than us, clearly. But at the same time, it does a good job of going through real history and explaining the arguments, the incentives, what went well, what went poorly, and it does it in a very compact fashion that is also equally entertaining, if not more so. Like, I had an absolute blast reading this book. I will be reading this one again with my eyeballs.
Yes.
The thing that I hate about this book is that there's not more of it.
Yeah.
I wish there was more. I like so badly wish. Not even like sequel or trilogy or expanded universe. That would be fantastic. This book alone had me hooked so good. I just wanted it to keep going.
Yeah.
I really did.
It's like the only thing that you can do after the book is over is you can fire up some Helldivers, or you can fire up some Halo, and then you can go kill the Covenant, or you can go kill some bugs or kill some robots. That's about it. I'm inclined to agree. I wish that there was more of this book. And I've read a lot of what Heinlein has to offer, and like a lot of his books are like that, you know. A lot of his stuff is really great. And so just reading everything in the Heinlein universe is super fantastic and awesome. And I would say that this belongs in Galaxy Brain because of the things that it makes you think, the fantastic delivery that it has, the way that it hits home. I know that there's some people out there that get like politically uppity about it, but I think that's neither here nor there. That's their problem, not mine. I enjoyed the fuck out of it. And I think that the principles of suffer for your country, and then you get some sort of say over it, is a really good starting place for a lot of people to become good citizens and become good stewards of the places that they're in. So that's my 2 cents. What do you think, Z? Where does it go?
It's solid Galaxy Brain. If anything, it's fighting for some of the top spots at Galaxy Brain too, especially for this year. The book is so good. Like, I love philosophical and theoretical like arguments and discussions. That's fantastic. But also, it ties it into the story and a real life person going through their own situations, and it does it very well. For me, this is arguably one of the top leadership books of the year that we've covered.
Oh, yeah.
It does. The whole book is not even about leadership. Like, the leadership aspect is like it's bits and pieces of a lot of interactions along the way, and when they have it squarely in focus about what it is to be in the chain of command, shut up, do you understand what like leadership is? I know you're willing and you're rearing to go because you have a duty and responsibility and you want to take on the responsibility, but like, shut up. Do you understand what this means? Do you understand the implications of everything going on? And then actually showing that live out through the process about, here's your interaction, here's what it's like having people depend on you. This was again a book written ahead of its time. If I remember properly, it was written after World War II in the early 50s, and it outshines so many things that were written after it by a mile.
I would say certainly timeless.
Yeah, timeless is absolutely the name for this book. So I cannot give this book the highest praise. I am just sad that there's not more of it because I would love to just consume this, and I think it's just so well written and it's so good, and the story's fun and the characters are fun and the world building's fantastic, and it's the first iteration of power armor, and they do a really good job of it too, by the way. It is sick. This is one of the best iterations of power armor in a fantasy setting / like slightly real militaristic setting that I've ever seen. It's a riot through and through.
And it was the first. It was the first. This is where it all came from. It all came from Starship Troopers. I believe 1958 is when it was published. So like this it's just so like I can't love it enough. This is such a fantastic book. Service guarantees citizenship. Service guarantees citizenship, and my desire to know more definitely
Would you like to know more?
Is intensifying. So the movie is quite fun. The book is fantastic and great. The principles in it are just excellent and outstanding. And excuse me, there needs to be more content around Starship Troopers. So That's my thoughts. This is a fantastic list, broski. I'm quite pleased with how it turned out. What do you think?
I'm very happy with this. When we were initially going through it, it was a little bottom heavy, but now that I'm looking back at the heavy hitters and all the books in the top 2 categories, I'm like, yeah, we covered some really good stuff, and I think we
Yep.
got some really good stuff out of those too.
Yep. For the folks at home, read the books on the top first, and then read the books in the good soup, and then maybe a few morsels as you please. And if you want some niche things, then go through the interesting thoughts. But for those of you guys that are wondering which books and book, like if you want to skip all of the pain that me and Zenith are doing, then definitely start with the top and see how you like our recommendations from there. What do you think, Z?
I stand by everything you said, and hear me out. All the books that we put in a few good morsels, if that interests you, if that is what you are looking for, immediately all those books shoot up a tier or 2.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the reason we put those books down there is that they're very niche. They're not like all encompassing. You can't build a worldview out of it. But if you want to know about those topics, those are some of the best books you can find for those topics. In particular, I'm looking at Creature from Jekyll Island. If you're interested in the Federal Reserve and the history of it, that's honestly one of the best histories you're going to get. If you're interested in Bitcoin in the early days of like what happened, like what was actually going on the ground, what were people doing, Roger Ver hijacking Bitcoin, can't beat it. Alpha God, I think, is really good, especially if you're going from that religious perspective, even that evolutionary psychology perspective, fantastic. And again, like Will said earlier, if you are one of the people that is going to get a lot of benefit out of Eat Right for your body type, that can be absolutely life transforming. It just depends on who you are and what you're looking for. We covered a lot of good books, even the books down in Interesting Thoughts. We either enjoyed, thought were interesting, made good arguments, or covered an interesting topic. So it all just depends on what you're going for. This is what we've put over the course of a year, which is crazy to think about. Like, this is legitimately like probably a week or 2, maybe even 3 of just reading straight at even accelerated speed on Audible. And I gotta say, I'm very happy we covered all of these books. There's a lot of good stuff in here, and some like the best of the best that we covered. They're legitimately some of the best books I've ever read in my life.
Yep, absolutely, man. Welcome to Degen University. All those of you in the audience, you guys are. We're all going on this journey together. Zenith and I will be your substitute teachers, and you're your own teacher. We're just kind of here to summarize things, but it's a good time, man. I'm so glad that we do book club. This is phenomenal. These are things. What's crazy is like all of this good and juicy value I would not do if I did not like say inside my brain like I'm going to do book club because I said I would. Like I would not read these books on my own. I'd be like, yeah, no, fuck that. I'm not doing it. But because we've made this commitment to do this book club thing, it's like, oh, I'm actually like a shit ton better for it. So sometimes when you force yourself to eat a spoonful of medicine, it just so happens to have some sugar on the side, and you get to be better for it.
That's very true. Alrighty, tell you what, we went through our thoughts. I want to hear what the audience has to say because I know there was some really good stuff all along the way, and we appreciate all you guys for tuning in for it too. So hit them with
time.
it, Will.
For chat motherfucking shout outs, ladies and germs. I've got quite a few saved up from you guys. And we've gone through some of them as we've been rocking and rolling through live. Let's see what we got here. Do you want me to roll through it? You wanna take it?
I got it.
Oh, very
Up
good.
first, Mr. Slide 180, aka Josh. He says, my second favorite show besides the anime one. Look, there's a reason we brought this one back. A, because we have an absolute blast doing this, doing the hindsight, looking back about everything we covered, and we do the quick synopsis to remember all the stuff we've covered as well. But at the same time, I have gotten nothing but fantastic feedback about doing this kind of show, and I am so glad that all you guys enjoy this one as well. Because if anything, like if you have not been keeping up with reading with us as we go through week to week, this is a fantastic look back on like the best of the best. If you want to skip out on all the fluff and just go right to the sauce, this is where you get it. Granted, it's from us and it's our opinions, but at the same time though, like I think we do a very good job of covering the books, giving you guys an idea of what they're about, and then what is good, what is bad, what are the arguments for, what are the arguments against, that kind of stuff. I know like some people might get a little ticked off that I'm recommending books, then also arguing against them at the same time. But like, you got to take it with a grain of salt. There's good, there's bad, understand what's what. And ultimately, you make that decision. That's just my decision. And it's an opinion. It can be wrong. And guess what? I have been wrong before, and I will be wrong in the future, and that's okay.
I think that it's good that this is your second favorite show. And like I wish that we could do more of these, but the really sad truth is that we have to earn these. We have to go through an entire year's worth of books in order to be the judge to do this sort of stuff. So it's like,
Yes, sir.
we can't just do the rating systems. We have to actually go and do the work and consume the books and then do the reading. And it's like, I guess we could rate, our favorite Skyrim weapons, and we could talk about like what's your favorite Minecraft block, or we could do other tier lists as well. But as far as the books go, like, yeah, this rating is it's quite fun, and we do have to do the work. And my God, is it a lot of work? But fuck, is it worth it? So I'm glad that you like it, Josh. It's good to know that what we enjoy doing is also what you enjoy hanging out and participating in. So that's fucking awesome, broski. Shout out to you, good sir, Mr. Josh, and to all you guys in the chat. Speaking of the people in the chats, let's see what they have to say.
Absolutely. Moondog coming in here. Good to see you, big guy. When we were covering salt, fat, acid, heat, he said, yeah, this book is kind of literally the definition of it, huh?
I think he says D-definition. A D-definition.
Definition?
A definition.
Oh.
I think it means like an undefinition, because she was saying, Arceus was saying like that salt, fat, acid, heat should be in the good morsels at least, or something like that.
He also had this one. Excellent. He said, hopefully you don't need a galaxy brain to eat, but if you have a galaxy or even townly brain, why not use some spice for how to eat good?
There you go.
There you go. I love it.
Good to see, Moondog.
Moonpill, the Rational Aptics, getting in here as well. He gives us the wave, the hi, says, hey guys, good sir, it is always a pleasure to have you here. And shout out to all you guys up in the chat tonight. It's literally the day after Christmas. You guys are the dedicated, loyal audience here for the live show. We love seeing you guys every week. It's part of what keeps us keeping this going. And we genuinely enjoy the conversation that you guys have here with us. And I look forward to it every week. I really do. What about you, Will?
Yeah. It's something I look forward to as well. There's many times where I'm like, fuck, I can't believe I have to take my time to do streaming. But then it's like, man, I can't believe I have to take my time to go hang out with cool people. It's like, of course I want to do this. And what's really cool is like, it's unlike, normal content where it's like a one-way glass where the person who is doing the content can't interact with the audience. Like with streaming stuff, it's like we can have a back and forth and we can have conversation. We're limited by how fast you can type on your phone or type on your keyboard and stuff, but like I still think it's fucking awesome, and I am more than happy to do this every week.
Agreed. Like, I know sometimes we hop, like I'm getting ready before stream and I'm like, oh man, that was a full day. I'm tired. I got to do this thing because I want to be committed. And then we hop on, and at the end of it, I am just jazzed. I'm psyched. I'm energized. Yep. I just had a good time. It's like, what was I even worried about? This
exactly.
Is
Dude, that principle was in one of the books where it's just like, if you just fake it till you make it, eventually you get there. I think that was in Ultimate Power,
I believe it was, yeah.
Been there many times myself. Fantastic. We got New to God Plankton next.
Yes, sir. He says, my favorite this year was Lessons in Extreme Patience and Endless Optimism by Richard Hart.
That's the fun version of patience.
If my understanding is correct, this is less of a book and more of the experience that we all had during 2025. And hear me out. Yeah, we all did the same reading on that one. I think we all got the same takeaways, hopefully.
Yeah, I wish I'd have kept my money till right now to start buying these dips, but boy howdy, it is what it is.
That's how it goes. Hey, that's how it goes. We accepted this when we got into it, and that's fine. We knew the game. Yep. We saw the ride. We bought the ticket. And guess what? Still here for it. Still am.
Yep. There ain't no brakes on the DCA train, so as long as you're DCAing, you're bringing down that cost average, which sometimes is just like, fuck.
Hear me out. Even if you're not bringing down your average DCA price, guess what that means? It means that the underlying asset is going up, meaning that all those DCAs you had before are now even more valuable. And if the DCA is going down, you're getting even better value. So
you win no matter what. It's literally, I'll quote Shakespeare when I say, nothing is good or bad of its own, but that you think it's so. And so like if you adopt that mindset that you have, Z, like then that's the healthiest fucking mindset, and everybody wins.
That's true. That's true. Alrighty, up next, Moon-Pilled Rational Optics, getting in here, guy. Says, oh, good. How to Think Like a Roman Emperor made it to the top. Yes, it did. That was a banger. I just
Fucking
genuinely
right.
enjoyed it. Thought it was fantastic. And hear me out. I love me some historical stuff, especially about Romans and the Roman Empire. That is my jam. I don't know why, but it scratches that itch, and I'm just like, yes, more of this. Absolutely more of this.
Hell yeah.
Alrighty, Mr. Slide 180 saying Starship Troopers better be Galaxy Brain. Guess what? It was, and it was one of the best ones of the year, if not the best, in our two guys' opinions. Or as Will says, we're just two assholes on the internet.
Fucking A right. We're assholes with good taste.
True, true. By the way, we got a good buddy coming in here. It is a pleasure to see you, Mr. Paul Sachs. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you had a very Merry Christmas. But he comes in with his own tier list. He says, Kama Sutra is better than 50 Shades of Grey. Fight me. Cheers, boys.
Well, that depends on what you want to define as better. If you want to look at sales numbers, then you might be mistaken. If you want to look at timelessness, Kama Sutra probably.
Yeah, hear me out. I've never read either of them. I don't know if I have a particular interest in reading one of them because I'm not interested in reading a Twilight fan fiction. But
I will say both of those books are extremely valuable for having, like, the thing that is useful about 50 Shades of Grey isn't necessarily what's inside the pages. It's the number of people that buy it and love it and enjoy it and why. So if you can understand that why, then you can get a hidden insight into what do people actually think, and then you can adjust your actions accordingly to get results that are more in line with whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. So, if everybody likes it and nobody ever admits to liking it, then it's like if you do the thing that people actually like, then you might find yourself in an empowered situation. So 50 Shades of Grey might not be for everybody. And you would definitely be very wise to be calibrated in the action that you take. But yeah, the book 50 Shades of Grey is basically all about humiliation. And there is some sex and stuff in there, but it's mostly humiliation. And then Kama Sutra is like, hey, this is how you do positions and things. So this is how you wrinkle your body and play Twister with your friends. So
there's only so many different ways you can slap the meat together. I'm just saying.
It's not so much about the meat slapping as it is about, like, you know how feng shui, there's an energy to the way that a room feels. Like when you walk into a room and you face away from the receptionist versus facing towards her.
Yes.
Like there's this sort of like energy mumbo wumbo jumbo feeling that has to do with like the way that your body contorts. And like for those of you guys that have ever done yoga out there or done like sports med or stretching or any of these other things, like you can testify that there's like literally positions that you can put your body in that will make you feel relaxed, that will make you feel stressed, that will make you feel all sorts of things. So the Kama Sutra talks about like literal physical manipulation, and then 50 Shades of Grey is more of mental manipulation and games of that sort. So that's your quick little insight. I don't think that we're going to be covering Kama Sutra and 50 Shades of Grey on the Degen Roundtable Book Club. At least I'm not planning on doing it.
I'm not planning on it.
I don't know if that's the sort of thing an all male cast could do. That's more of a girls' book club kind of thing.
Yeah. Enough of that. Let's. All right,
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul Sachs. Love you, but yeah, I don't want to dwell on that one too much.
He's you got us. You caught us, you bastard. Arceus says.
You got us. That is good. Arceus says, many people think the classic productivity book, Getting Things Done, is best absorbed through a PDF summary, because reading the book is kind of like eating styrofoam, but the ideas are important. Hear me out. We have covered some books that feel this exact same way. So I completely understand, and I understand when people say, I'd rather put this through AI than read it. Although, unfortunately, to know that, you must have had to first read it or hear it from somebody else, in which case you clearly trust them. So, hey, I respect the opinion. All right. He says, maybe we need a GTD category, a getting things done category. That would be an interesting one. Does this book get things done?
That's a good point. I like that.
I like that.
I like that.
We'll remember that one. Alrighty. Alan Chen coming into us for Art of War. He says Chinese are very good at fighting wars without physical violence. Absolutely. I think that is one of the things that they've shown throughout their history and is very, very relevant today in modern times with what's going on over there. So the Chinese have one of the longest recorded active ongoing histories in like literally the history of humanity. So is Chinese history very long, very dense, very kind of like, I don't know, boring at certain points? Yes. But at the same time, I think there's absolutely an importance to being able to look at a civilization that has continued as long as it has through multiple iterations, obviously. But there's definitely something to be said about that. So, hey, if they got lessons for me, I'm here to listen. I'm going to take it with a grain of salt, but I'll listen. Mood Dog coming in here. He says 48 laws is long, but chunkable, and honestly gives more time to digest and integrate each law, contemplating one per day, por ejemplo. That's for example, by the way, in the old Espanol. Yeah, I agree with you. This is something we've talked about on the channel here for a while. We're actually contemplating doing a like mini-sode series for 48 Laws of Power in particular, about trying to cover one law each day and do like a 20-minute video or something. But ultimately, crypto world moves fast, so we got stuck doing that, and we're trying to keep up as much as we can and trying to bring you guys as much information and news as possible. But yes, 48 laws. If there was a book that you could do in chunks, this is definitely very chunkable for sure.
Yep. There's a lot of Twitter accounts out there that do like a law a day, a dissertation on this law, and blah blah blah.
Yes, sir.
It's not a bad idea.
Not bad at all. Alrighty, Hex Glenn coming in here. He says, "Hey guys, and by the way, sir, I see the profile picture. I love the Santa hat. It is a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you guys got something good out of the year here. And by the way, if you guys have a favorite book from the year, throw it in the chat. Happy to highlight it. And if you have recommendations, you got to join the book club Telegram, where you can input all your stuff there, see the show notes that we compile, good quotes all along the way, and you can also see Will roasting the books that I sometimes ask him to read against his desire.
Sometimes I roast the author. Sometimes I roast the person who selected it. Sometimes I roast myself. I do not hold back in Telegram. And if you guys are in the Degen Roundtable ever and you see someone doing something uncalibrated, I am very happy to point it out to them in a nice little paragraph dissertation. And also, Mr. Hex Glenn says, "Happy Friday." Happy Friday right back to you. And I actually did not notice the Santa hat. So that's an excellent addition, Mr. Hex Glenn. Fuck yeah, broski. Love to see it.
Looking sharp, big guy. Love to see it. Alrighty, last one out of here. Slide 180. Get in here with good show, Degens. Cheers. The list is on par. Hear me out. Is this our opinion? Yes, absolutely. Are we still happy to hear that we're not completely out over our skis? Also, yes. So, if you guys have any thoughts or comments or opinions, like, please let us know. We're always here to hear your thoughts about these books because you might have thought about it a different way than we do. I know that we tackle these things from very different perspectives, but hey, glad you guys are getting something out of it. And as always, we love that you're here for it, and we love hanging out with you guys. So thank you very much.
Excellent, excellent. And on the subject of hanging out and things that we love, it sounds like the folks in your background are having an absolute blast based on what's going on too. So shout out to them. Good to see you guys in the background. Whether you know it or not, you are live on YouTube. So fantastic.
Yeah,
glad to have you with us as well.
Yeah, I think they're playing bingo with the things that I say, and that was
No
apparently
kidding.
Looking Sharp Big Guy was a big one. So they're
Oh,
having a hoot with it.
Okay. Okay. Man, there's one of the things that you say on almost all the streams that I can't remember it now for the life of me. But that's awesome.
Hey, you got me a
That's
T-shirt
excellent.
with AKA, also known as.
Oh, I did get you the AKA T-shirt. Yes, the AKA T-shirt. I think it's
Apparently
other
that's
than that. Is your other phrase?
Yeah,
or
I
something
believe it.
like that.
I believe
We all
it.
got a little campfire stories. I would love to see the bingo card that they've got. This is quite fun.
True. All right.
Mhm.
Well, other than that, that is what we have for tonight here. You guys for you guys. So, Mr. Will Stevenson, before we get out of here, where can the folks find you, and what do we have going on in the near future?
you guys can find us over at the Degen Roundtable, t.me/DRT. Join now is the way that you guys join the Telegram. If you want to find me specifically, then you can go to will.pls.fyi. That's where all of my socials are linked, and you can stalk me wherever you want over there. There's the link to join the Degen Roundtable. That's the most important one. Come be a part of our community. Come be a part of our Telegram. And if you want to be a part of Book Club, then that's t.me/Degen Book Club. I'm not going to post that link though, because hardly anyone's in there, and I like keeping it that way. It's pretty cool. I like having like a limited audience of like 40-ish people in the DJ.
If you're in the club, you're in the club.
If you're in the club, you're in the club. If you know how to get there, well, you know what? I will say it again. t.me/Degen Book Club. And as a matter of fact, I will post the link because y'all are here watching, and I should at least reward you with the opportunity. I don't expect anyone. I would be quite surprised if anyone actually clicked their way in and joined the Degen Book Club that's not already in there. But there you guys go. If you want to join Book Club, then go to t.me/Degen Book Club, all one word. And that's where you can find us here. For our next book, I believe that you have that covered, so I will let you talk about it. I've already posted it up in the oh wait, no. Is it my turn? Did I choose it, or did you choose it?
It is my turn. So we're finishing out the $100 million series, and this time we're doing $100 million models. So this is the final one. Oh gosh, what's the name of the author again?
It is Alex Hormozi.
Alex Hormozi, yes. Thankfully, this is a shorter book, but at the same time, though, this book trilogy is focused around building business ideas and how to scale them. And then this one is how to, I think, do the cash flow within it and really grow and build something like that. I'm looking forward to this one. We really enjoy all of the Alex Hormozi books that we've seen up until this point. So I have nothing less than high expectations for this one. I don't want to set them too high because we also, at the same time, understand what this is. It's not going to help you be a better investor. Theoretically, it's going to help you maybe even build a business, which, hear me out, that sounds pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm down to build a better business. I don't have a business, but I'm down to have a better one.
Same here, brother. Same here.
Yep.
Alrighty. Other than that, Will previously mentioned it, but if you scan the QR code above me, you can get into the Degen Roundtable Telegram. Inside of there, you can access our ongoing chat and everything going on with that, whether it's the memes, the jokes, or what you really came for, the ongoing crypto discussion about what's going on with the markets, what moves you can make, and also any cool and new and interesting developments going on in the world so you can be up to date and be able to make the best moves for yourself possible. Degen Roundtable is a very curated Telegram. We're very proud of what we've done because all you guys are in there, and well, clearly you're cool cats, and we like hanging out with you. And we think you're very smart and have good information to put in there. So that is where you can find all of that. Outside of that, we will have an internal debate about whether we're doing a stream on Sunday night, which is our usual flagship show. And then outside of that, I think that Wednesday night is New Year's Eve, so we'll have to see what we have going on for that as well. But outside of that, we do really appreciate you guys showing up for this one. You guys are the absolute best, and I do have to pull up my thing here on the phone to read off what I'm doing. But if you guys want to find, if you guys want to find me personally, what?
He's just pulling up his thing.
Hey, whoa.
This is the Degen Roundtable, bro. Oh my God.
DJ
Anyways,
is in
sorry.
the name. You knew what you were getting
into.
Name. Yeah. If you guys want to follow me, you can catch me on X and Instagram at zenithdi, or you can find myself or Will inside of the Telegram, the aforementioned QR code above. But outside of that, folks, I want to thank you all for spending your valuable time here with us on the Degen Roundtable. As our very own Agent J often says, we know that time is your most valuable asset, and we appreciate you guys investing it right here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Zenith, but more importantly, you have been watching the Degen Roundtable. Mr. Producer, that's me. Go ahead and get that trigger finger ready, because it's time to remind all the folks at home to remember to degen responsibly.